morning. Rise and shine. Happy Saturday. Join me in this walk and talk. Let's talk all things Trump, Biden, Obama. It's a lot. I know it's a lot. Come on in. Hopefully YouTube don't still have me shadow banned. Come on in. YouTube don't always be happy with your girl, but it's okay. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Let's see. I see one person. Somebody can see me out there. Good morning. Come on in. Like the video. Like, share, and subscribe. Want to make sure that you all can hear me before I get to talking my talk. My last live I was on, when was that? Wednesday morning, an episode, Car Chronicles episode. I was in the zone, just talking my talk. And next thing you know, YouTube interrupted it. I seen reconnecting. Whenever I see reconnecting, that's not a good sign for my live. That means I'm frozen on your end and you can see me. It's like frozen, but you can't hear me. So I have to start the live up. And I went to start the live up again and no one showed up. So I knew I was once again shadow banned. So YouTube will do that to my channel. Lately, it's been happening a bit. I didn't experience this really in the past with other types of content that I would do on YouTube. But on this channel, I have two channels. On this channel is heavy politics. And yeah, it's been happening since I've been getting into the politics and really getting into it. I don't know if it depends on like what I'm talking about. I feel like it'll happen if it's not favorable for Trump with what I'm talking about versus it being favorable. So I don't know, y'all. I don't know, but it's okay. I still have my channel. I'm still able to go live. So come on in here, like the video. Join me on my walk and talk. And I want to talk all things Trump, Biden, Obama, all three names, all the people. What's up, Johnny? What's up? I want to talk about Ghislaine Maxwell. Them folks, they went and sat with her. Somebody went and had a conversation with her. And allegedly, her attorney. Did you all see Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney speak out? Her attorney spoke out this week. I think I listened to him yesterday. So apparently one day this week, the DOJ, I think that's who went and met with her. But Trump sent, one of his attorneys, to go holler at her. And according to Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney, he's like, she had a lot to say. She had a lot to say. And she dropped at least like 100 names. You all, allegedly, Ghislaine Maxwell dropped 100 names when the DOJ went and spoke with her. They did not, or the attorney did not give the list of names. He just said it was at least 100 names. I saw yours truly, President Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, the country I reside in. I live in Georgia. My president, I heard him speak about these alleged names. Y'all know he's not above, doing an interview. He likes to talk and be in front of the camera. And they asked him about the list of names and things. And he basically said, listen, I'm not one of those names, but I can tell you the people who were over there playing around with him at his house. It wasn't me. He dropped Clinton's name. I think he dropped, let me see who else. I know he had dropped Clinton's name, but he was like, I wasn't over there. It wasn't me. He on his Shaggy. It wasn't me. He is on his Shaggy. Y'all remember that song, the Jamaican song, It Wasn't Me? Trump said it wasn't him. He was like, listen, I'm the good guy. You want to know who the bad guy is? The bad guy is Obama with this Russian stuff and being aware of their interference with the or their attempt to, I guess, would interfere, I guess, with the 2016 election. I think it was the 2016 election when Trump, I don't know, was it 2016 or 2020? It was one of those elections. And Trump is saying that Obama, I guess him and his team were saying that Russia was a part of his, played a part in why he won. So I think we're talking about the 2016 election. And y'all remember back then, Hillary was running and Trump was running. During that year, I had voted for that election. I had voted for Hillary. I couldn't stand Donald Trump back then. I didn't like Hillary either, but I disliked Trump more. And I remember right around election time, Russia had released some receipts about Hillary Clinton that basically jacked her up. I can't remember the exact detail, but they had dropped some receipts on her and it jacked her up. So a lot of people felt like she did not win because of the information that was released on the internet about her. What was it? I can't remember the details, you all. You all can talk about it in the chat. The details of back then, what was it that they dropped and put in the media about Hillary Clinton that they blamed, basically they blamed the Russians for and said it was to damage basically her campaign, her chance of winning the presidential election, all of that. Y'all remember that? So right now, the conversation centered around Russia. I think it's pertaining to all of that when that all took place back 2016, 17, or whatever. It was during that time. So here's the thing that people are questioning, in particular, those who identify with the Democrat Party, and maybe some who don't. I don't identify with any party. I'm pretty much independent, conservative. Listen, I vote based on what you talking about. What you talking about, Willis? I vote kind of like that. What are you talking about? And then we kind of go from there. But the question is, okay, if all this was popping off, you believe that Obama, or whoever was that, they had their hands in a cookie jar. You think that they was on some other type of time. Why, when you were president the first term, why didn't you bring all this to light then? So I'm telling y'all, these are the questions that are being put out there. Why didn't you bring all this to light then? Hopefully, guys, it says glare on my screen, so I can't see you all that well. I'm walking. It's a Sunday, but we're out. We're outside. I am a melanated queen, so I have to get my vitamin D from the sun. Once I get stationary back to my home, I'll get into the comments because it'll be shaded at my house. So anyway, so people are like, yo, if all this was popping off, why wasn't this our priority? Which makes sense to me. It's a fair question. Why, when you were president, when you won that, I guess the 2016 election, why wasn't it a priority during that time to address whatever you're accusing Obama of? Because whether or not, Obama did whatever, I don't know. I'm just letting you all know, what's being talked about with this whole Russia situation. Basically, y'all, I seen Tulsi Gabbard maybe earlier this week, a press conference talking about her findings and how she, based off of her research, what her and her team found, they're like, yo, Obama was on some sneak type stuff. He did it, whatever. He needs to be dealt with. But then I'm hearing talks that, well, if you're a president, or if you've been a president, you basically, it's automatic immunity. So what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we talking about? So it's a lot going on. But yeah, the question is why? And they asked Tulsi Gabbard that while she was doing the press conference. They were like, yo, why, when he was president the first term, why wasn't it a priority to get down to this if it's that big of a deal. Like, what's the deal? I'm going to tell y'all what I think. I think that the only reason why it's such a big deal right now is because the Trump administration views it as a great way to deflect from what's going on centered around these Epstein files. Because so far, nothing else. I really don't even think that they're successful with this Russia situation overshadowing the Epstein files. But I believe that all of this was an attempt to be a distraction to overshadow the situation with Epstein files, because everybody was coming down on Trump like hard, like, yo, what are you going to do? And not only were they coming down on him, they was coming for Pam Bond. Anybody in that administration, listen, people been on this. I don't give a F what you trying to say. Let's talk about these Epstein files. Y'all notice that wherever they go, regardless of what the topic is they're talking about, the questions, a lot of the questions that people have, it's not even on topic. When I say on topic, meaning what the press conference is about, because they ain't hold no press conferences about no Epstein files. They ain't done that in a minute. They've been talking about everything else. But the number one question, the topic, is centered around the Epstein files as far as it's the questions that people do have. So right now with the whole Russia situation, Trump's like, yo, this is what y'all really need to be focused on. This is what y'all really need to be focused on, because Obama was lying. He was this, that, and the third. So y'all need to focus on that. He's a bad guy. I'm the good guy. I didn't do anything wrong. So that's where we are with this. I feel like when it comes to politicians, which is why I have no desire to work in politics on my channel, because I cover political content on this channel. And I often get comments about, or suggestions, recommendations for me to join politics, run for local offices and things like that. But you all know the reason why I'm not interested is because I just feel like once you get into politics, you just become tainted in a way that you weren't before. I feel like it changes people. I don't feel like everybody who enters into the political arena was always on some demon time, just like even in Hollywood. Y'all see how we'll talk about the celebrities in Hollywood and how they just seem like they're on some demon time. But people who may have knew them before they were just these rich, famous celebrities didn't really view them as that. They were just regular, normal people. So I just feel like that the industry, which is money, it has a way of changing people. And how that happens is when the industry becomes aware of things about you, maybe indiscretions, things that you may not want people to know. And I feel like they can hold it over. They do hold it over your head. They'll say, yo, like, we know, like, y'all remember the movie, the sequel, We Know What You Did Last Summer. It's on that I know what you did 5 years ago type tip. So when somebody's holding something like that over your head saying, yo, I know what you did. They don't know what you did, but we over here know what you did. So it will behoove you to get in line. I feel like a lot of people get that message, whether they're athletes, actresses, politicians. It's on some, hey, if you don't do what I want you to do, I'm going to do this. And this could be like career ruins, maybe even ruins for just your personal life, your reputation. And a lot of people, they don't want to ruin their life or even the lives of their loved ones. How many times, y'all, have we seen where something happened to a celebrity, politician, loved one, and then we start having water cooler talk about, okay, so let me start over. You'll have celebrities, politicians, whoever, people that have a name in the industry will see that something happened to someone close to them, a loved one. Then we get to talking about why that was. You see, and then in the conversation, it starts being connected to that celebrity person, that person with a name. You see what I'm saying? I believe that where there's smoke, there's fire. And I believe that when people start having these conversations like this, centered around cause of death for just people connected to these celebrities, politicians, I think it's warranted conversation, because I truly believe that the powers that be have a way of controlling you, controlling people through other people. Like, hey, I'm not going to get you directly. I'm going to get you indirectly by coming for people who are close to you. Y'all see what I'm saying? So with me having that understanding, it's not appealing to me to want to be a part of that, to be in the industry, to be in Hollywood, to be in politics where I'm working for a large platform like Fox News, CNN, because that is what many call bought and paid for. How many of you watch these big platforms and you feel like these people don't believe what they saying? It's just a check. You're watching the daytime talk shows, The View, The Talk, whatever. These people work for large networks, which means that they are paid a check to speak a certain way. And if you choose to go against that, then that's when you find yourself without a job. We see it time and time again, over and over again. We're seeing how one of the the Late Show is coming to an end. Y'all can drop his name in the comment. The guy, is it Cohen? I don't have my notes in front of me because I talked about that on my channel. But Trump is basically kind of celebrating and is giving that he was behind why this man is no longer going to be on television anymore. But apparently the show, I think it's called The Late Show. Is it Stephen Colbert? Something to start with a C. His last name started with a C. And the show was doing very well. The show was doing very well, like number one in the slot. But we're going to be entering into the last season of it. So next May will be the last. That's going to be the last time you'll be able to see that show. So people have been wondering, like, well, what's the deal? How does a top rated show suddenly just get canceled? And background is that there was some moving of parts in the background as far as with the selling of things. And part of the deal was, hey, we'll do this, give you this. If you do that, get rid of that person. Y'all see what I'm saying? How you playing chess, not checkers, to where, hey, I see you like this over here. Oh, you want this? I think, well, this is what I'm going to need for you to do. I'm going to need for you to fix that first. Get rid of that. And then we can, y'all see, money talks. And a lot of times people are willing to do these things and move people around, get rid of people because of financial gain. And Trump has gone on record of saying that he is coming for, I think, Jimmy Fallon. He's looking forward to those other television hosts to lose their jobs as well, because he's saying they're all trash. This is why I say that I like to, my channel is small. I'm just right underneath 5,000 subscribers on this channel. My second channel, which was my original first channel, is even smaller than this channel. This channel is like twice the size of my other channel. This channel just performs better just because of the topic. I talk politics over here. The other channel, I just talk about everything else. People are interested in politics. This channel does well as far as with the views. So with that being said, I'm good with staying in my own lane and not being connected with a large network and just doing me and not having to just tailor my messaging. Kind of like Candace Owens. Y'all see how Candace was working for somebody. Well, she had got fired or whatever, but what she do? She went and started up her own thing. So Candace over there talking greasy in her own space. Okay, yes, she said she didn't got hit with a lawsuit. It happens. She got the money. Her husband got $1 billion. So she'll be all right. But the point of the story is that she's in a place to where she can move how she chooses and not have to worry about somebody holding her job over her head. It's a beautiful feeling to be, it's beautiful to know that you can move how you choose and not worry about, okay, because you said something that maybe the person who writes your paycheck don't like, then now you're out of a job. So it's very liberating, and once you experience it, you don't want to move away from it. Kind of like maybe like a lot of people who are entrepreneurs who work for themselves. They like, listen, Chic, I ain't worked for corporate America and Lord knows how long. I can't imagine working for anyone else again because, hello, I like to move how I want to move. I don't want somebody dictating how I move, when I move, all of that. So it's just one of those things when you feel it, when you experience it, you don't want to move away from it. So that's how I feel when it comes to content creation and what I do on my channel. Some days I'm on here going in, going hard on what it is that Trump's doing that I'm not here for. And then you'll have days to where I'm going hard and talking about the things that I am here for. It's very balanced. For those of you who are new to my channel and you want to know my political stance, last year, November, I voted for Donald J. Trump. He got my vote. He got my vote the last two elections. 2016, I voted for Hillary Clinton. Trump won. 2020, I voted for Donald J. Trump. They named, you see what I did? They named Biden as the president. 2025, here we are now. I voted for Donald J. Trump. So I voted for him 2 out of the 3 times his name has been on the ballot as for the president, the seat of the United States of American president. So that's me, where I stand, and I move. My vote is based off of just what are your views are. Like, what are you talking about? So Trump, y'all, a lot of people, when I look at the different polls, a lot of people were here for Trump's language centered around, or his talk centered around immigration. That was my number one reason why I voted for him. I'm gonna let y'all know. Immigration. I am one of many people who felt and still feel like immigration is out of control. It's better now since he's been in office because he's been doing the roundups. A lot of people haven't been here for exactly how he's been doing them, but nonetheless, he's doing what he ran on. And the crazy thing about it, you all, is that the loudest talkers about how he's moving are people who voted for him, in particular people from the Hispanic community. I think what they said, about 60% of them voted for Trump, and that's the group of people who are being impacted the most by this illegal immigration roundup. It's crazy. I can't wrap my mind around that because I knew that when I voted for that was something that just basically, it didn't impact me or my family when it came to illegal roundups. I'm FBA, Foundational Black American. So my family, going back to as far back as I can remember, they were here. So voting to say, hey, send illegal immigrants away, I don't have family members that I'm aware of that's coming from any other country outside of the United States. Why? Because I am FBA, Foundational Black American. That is what I identify as. So with that being said, I voted for him to get this immigration situation under control. And word on the curb, what I heard this week is that the Trump administration is on pace to hitting their target of rounding up 1 million illegal immigrants this year. I repeat, President Trump is on pace. They are on pace to hit their target of rounding up 1 million illegal immigrants this year. So that's going to be, at one point they had a goal of 3,000 immigrants a day, rounding up, picking up at least 3,000 illegal immigrants, 3,000. Recently, you all, there has been a change to, I don't know if it was written as part of the big beautiful bill, but let me tell y'all what I learned about. I didn't talk to y'all about on my last live. Y'all, who was on my last live? My last live got interrupted. YouTube messed it up. Y'all, I was going in. I was talking about Epstein and y'all, I was going in. Check out my last live. I was going in. I was going in so hard to where YouTube came in and interrupted the live. And then, so they interrupted it. So what that means is on your view, it'll lock up. On my view, it looks normal, but I just don't see you all like commenting, acknowledging, answering my questions like, hey, can you hear me? I just start to see the numbers drop. So that's when I know, okay, my live got interrupted because I see the numbers drop. At the time when I was going in, it was maybe like 400 and something people, I think, viewing at that time. And then I watched it just drop. Fine. I then went to start up a new live and no one showed up. So that lets me know my channel was shadow banned, to where those of you who were watching me at the time, you didn't even know that I started up a new live. Because when you're shadow banned, you all don't see that the person is doing anything. You just see the old material that they had out there. So that's what happened then. That's what happened then. But that's all right. So today is my first day back with recording something since that day. Because only how I know if I'm not shadow banned anymore is if I go live. And so we're live. We're here now. It's over 250. It's 280 of you watching right now. So the numbers are numbering like normal. So now back to what was I saying? What was the point of my story? Because I be moving around over here a lot, y'all. I be a lot. Let me think. What we talk about? Oh, so the change with the legal immigration. Prior to the recent change, when illegal immigrants would enter into the United States, it was just a misdemeanor charge. You pay $500 and then you go on about your business. Y'all follow me? Entering into the United States of America was just a misdemeanor charge, and how you were dealt with was you were fined $500. And that's just if the government wanted to even deal with you. Most people probably wasn't even dealt with, but if you were being dealt with, that's how you were being dealt with. Also, you were able to, when you were arrested, detained, whatever, you had the option of leaving or being released from jail on bail. So prior to the recent change, I'm not sure the date that this change went into effect. I'm wondering if it was a part of the big, beautiful bill, but I heard someone kind of explaining it, an immigration attorney talking about it earlier this week. She was like, prior to this recent change, a lot of people probably aren't even talking about it, but that's the thing. Y'all follow me over here because I talk about a lot of things that a lot of other platforms don't talk about, especially mainstream media. That's why they be shadow banning me. But anyway, so prior to this change, if you entered into the United States illegally, it was just a misdemeanor. You get fined $500. And if you're arrested, you have the option of being released on bail, period. You can call your folks. Listen, Jorge, I'm going to need for you to come round me up. This is Carlos. Carlos calling Jorge. Jorge, I'm going to need for you and Maria to come pick me up. Bet. Because y'all know they be having that money. They got cash on deck. No, they ain't playing around with no debit card, credit card. They like, what is that? I got green. That's the, the universal language. So with this new change, if you are picked up, like what ICE is doing, and it's for a reason outside of expired visa or green card, because that's technically documented, but you overstayed. So we want to distinguish the two. You got the group who just snuck in. So that's what I'm talking about, them people. Then you got the group where they were approved to be here, but when their paperwork expired, they stayed. They didn't remove it. They just stayed. Y'all see what I'm saying? So right now, what I'm telling you, this is applying to the people who snuck in, who came in illegally. They never was documented. So now with that group of people, when they are picked up and detained, they no longer have the option for bail. There is no bail option. Remember, I told y'all prior to the change, they can get out on bail. That's no more. Right now, if they're rounding you up, you're staying in there. You're staying in there unless they choose to allow to want to release you. If they be like, yo, all right, then for whatever reason, we're going to let you go. But you just automatically by law, as people been saying, listen, they need the, access to their rights and laws and all. That's no longer a thing. If you get picked up illegally, the Trump administration or the current system, the law now as things stand, says that you do not have to be extended the option of having bail. What's up, Virtuous? You do not have to extend the option of having bail. That was once a thing. So remember I told y'all the goal is to pick up and remove 1 million people in 1 year, by the end of the year. They said that they are on pace and they're going to be able to meet that goal. So with this change in law, Once they pick people up, they don't have to release them anymore. They can go ahead and do whatever it is that they want to do, whether send them back to the country where they're from, send them to another country to be detained in a prison. Y'all see however the current administration been moving. Basically, it's going to be like that on steroids now, because they don't have to deal with, okay, if we pick somebody up, them getting released on bail. Because up until recently, the people they picked up had the right to be able to be released on bail. If they were able to, secure bail, they can go. But that's not anymore. Now you're staying there. You're staying in there and until they tell you you could leave. And y'all know the likelihood of them saying, okay, you can leave and go on back outside in these U.S. streets is slim to none. Slim to none. Leaving is going to be you leaving the U.S. of A. expeditiously. That's leaving. That's what leaving means today. That's why they really, really want people to self-deport. I saw Kristi Noem. So Kristi Noem, y'all seen her. She the one, y'all. I can't remember exactly what her title is, but Kristi Noem is the lady with the long dark hair. She looking to me like she of a Hispanic descent right now, but y'all, I just learned she had work done to her face. She didn't have, y'all Google Kristi Noem pre-surgery, or even if you just Google Kristi Noem, y'all gonna see pictures of what she used to look like, because I was confused, y'all. I went to Google her like a week ago because I was wanting to know something about her, and it kept bringing up these images that didn't look like Kristi Noem, and I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on, Google? You're effing up. I said Kristi Noem. That is not the right Kristi Noem. Finally, I started digging and seeing that was Kristi Noem pre-having cosmetic surgery. I personally think she looks like a beautiful woman right now, but y'all, she paid for it, so she better look beautiful. She went in there and had the Kylie Jenner special. I call it the Kylie Jenner special. That's when you just don't even look nothing like you did pre-going underneath that knife. That's what Kristi Noem is giving. So Google her and you'll see what I'm talking about. I was thinking when I seen her this time around with the Trump administration, I'm like, Harper, who that woman? I had never seen her before. But that's because she got a new face. I could have very well seen her before with her old face. Y'all see what I'm saying? She trying to do a Khloe Kardashian on us. So I just want to throw that out there. So Kristi Noem was like, listen, I'm going to need this new face. We're going to call her New Face Kristi Noem. Not New Face Kristi Noem. Said, I'm going to need for y'all to self-deport. We're going to run y'all $1,000 after you make it back to your country. You get on this little app we got. You say, hey, we do roll call. You say, here, present, I'm in Venezuela. They're able to confirm your location. After that, they're going to run you your $1,000. The alternative to that, you all, is when the U.S. and our government rounds up these people who are deemed as illegal immigrants. So you're talking about the picking them up, the detainment of them, and then sending them to wherever the heck they're going to send them to. That's about $17,000. I think it was $17,100 per person that it costs for our government to do that. So where y'all think that money coming from? Y'all want to know why that our deficit is at what, 36 billion? This type of stuff. So they're saying it costs over a little or more than $17,000 per person as we do this roundup process. Now, I done told y'all their goal is to hit 1 million. So I ain't even finna sit and act like I know how to do the math to times that number by 1 million to see how much money our government will have spent to hit that number. So that's why they're like, yo, just go ahead and self-deport. It's better for you, and it's definitely better for the United States. So that's on that. I will be to my home soon. I'll be able to get into the comments and see what you all are talking about. But yeah, it's rough. So the current administration is on pace of meeting that goal of rounding up 1 million people this year. And I done told y'all how. The game changer really for them right now with hitting that number is this change with this law. Look into it. It's the change with this law centered around the bail. So because these people, as they're getting rounded up, if they're undocumented, meaning they're not on file with having at one point a visa or a green card, anything else is undocumented, they cannot bail. They no longer qualify for bail. That's more people that the Trump administration can hold on to. Y'all see? That's more people they can be like, okay, bet. Y'all not going anywhere. Wherever y'all go is where we're telling you you're going. And we're telling you you're leaving the United States. So, Alligator Alcatraz. Let's move over to that. What I've learned about Alligator Alcatraz is that it's supposed to be a temporary stop. And that temporary stop is supposed to be as long as 14 days. The last time I covered Alligator Alcatraz a couple of weeks ago, that was when the first time they shadow banned me, y'all. They hadn't released anyone from Alligator Alcatraz yet, but it hadn't been 14 days since it been in operation. It was maybe around like 10 days. It's now been definitely 14 plus days since Alligator Alcatraz has been in operation. So I haven't listened out or looked to see if there's any stories where people have actually left and got sent back home or whatever. But you're only supposed to be detained at Alligator Alcatraz for 14 days. You get it? 14 days. Border czar Tom Homan. Let me tell you, tell y'all a message. He told me that he's like, I'm gonna need for you to send this message to you people. Send this message. Y'all listen up. Listen, Linda, listen. Border Alizar Tom Homan, border czar, I call it Alizar, border czar Tom Homan said that, listen, people running around spreading this narrative that most of the people who are being picked up are not criminals or people who committed criminal crimes while being in the U.S. He said that's what the narrative is going. They're like, yes, most of these people, they're just good people. They may be here illegally, whatever, but they didn't do any wrongful things here in the U.S. Tom said that's an MF and lie. He's like, that's not true. He said at that time when he was speaking, he said they had maybe picked up it was like 120,000. I think that was the number, but don't hold me to that. And he was like, out of 120,000 people picked up, 92,000 of them were actual criminals, meaning like they were here and they was just doing the absolute most criminal crimes and things like that. So he said basically, based off of the numbers he threw out, he was saying 70% of the illegal immigrants that they are rounding up have committed crimes. He said the vast majority of them have committed crimes. He said at Alligator Alcatraz, the majority of those being detained there have committed crimes. So he said it's not true that it's in the reverse. He said it's not true. So I want to put that out there, because when he said that, I will admit, I'm going to be honest, prior to me hearing him say that, as I was seeing them round up illegal immigrants, I wasn't under the impression that most of the people I was seeing them round up were criminals. Because at that time in the press, the messaging was, hey, if you're here illegally, we're coming for you. Yes, we're prioritizing those who are over here doing the absolute most, meaning just breaking the law, hurting people, robbing people. We're prioritizing that, but we're rounding other people up as well. So for example, if you are one of those people that's the worst of the worst out here just doing the absolute most, and when they roll up on you and there's someone with you who haven't been living the same type of lifestyle as you, but they happen to be here illegally, undocumented, whatever, we're taking them too. So a lot of people have been getting caught up. I call it catching a stray. A lot of people have been getting caught up by just being in the vicinity of somebody who was doing wrongful things. Y'all know that happens in life. How many of y'all ever gotten caught up that way or seen somebody get caught up to where it wasn't rooted in what that person was doing, but because what they say wrong wrong place, wrong time type situation, you're caught up because you were there. So they went ahead and say, well, you go on and come with us too, David. We here to get Carlos, but we see your paperwork ain't kosher either. So come on and take a ride with us. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of that is happening with people. So they're saying, yes, and what's making it more of a chance of that happening, they say, is when these sanctuary cities, like a New York, when they don't allow for them to go inside of the jails or the prisons, because they really want to get into Rikers Island. Oh, they want to get into Rikers Island so bad. But the local government in New York, they're fighting it. They will not allow for them to get into Rikers Island. And they're like, yo, we want to get into Rikers Island because our thing is, well, the criminals are already in a detained place. So we don't have to go out into the community and we don't have to go out to the community. People see it. We can just come into the environment where the people are already housed. It makes sense to me. So think about it. You looking for somebody. Let's just say you. They're like, Sheik, I need for you to go pick up David Rodriguez. I'm like, all right then. Your job is to go find him and bring him here. Bring him to me. If I learn that David Rodriguez is at Rikers Island, I'm like, bet. It's already a controlled environment. I know where he is. I get my folks and we roll up on him. Y'all see what I'm saying? So there's that way. Then you have the other option. They say, Sheik, this is Rikers Island. So Rikers Island's like, no, Sheik, you can't come up in here. If you want him, you got to wait until he's released on his own out wherever, and you just got to go round him up on your own. So doing that means that, okay, now it's going to be harder because he's released now in the out into the world. So he's blending in with the population. And then as I roll up on him, I got to factor in all these things as far as like what he may or may not do in effort of not being picked up. Plus, there's also other people around to where they may bring attention to themselves, and it's going to have us to kind of shine the light, put the flashlight on them too. And next thing you know, instead of rounding up one person, we're now rounding up 20. You see what I'm saying? So they're like, Tom's like, yo, why just let us go inside of the Rikers Island to get that one person. Therefore, we don't have to go out into the community and then people are running scared or whatever. And then other people getting arrested in the midst of really we was coming for this one person. But since you here and you getting rowdy because you don't like that I'm trying to round up this one person and your paperwork in order, y'all know the main ones that be bringing attention to themselves be the ones that ain't legit. Don't they say, listen, you need to shut up and be quiet because you know your stuff ain't in order. But y'all know the loudest ones be the ones who stuff ain't in order. Y'all know, just think about it in real life. The loudest ones, they stuff ain't in order. Them be the ones. So they're getting caught up because with they mouth, then cash, they mouthed and wrote a check that they ASS can't cash. Y'all ever heard that saying? So that is what's happening. I've seen many of videos where the ICE is going to round up specific individuals, and then you got other bystanders who are now calling themselves trying to help, to fight, defend, or whatever. So now they didn't caught themselves a whole case. They didn't got caught up when ICE wasn't even there to even holler at them. But because they call themselves trying to defend whoever, it put attention on them. And then ICE come to learn, like, wait a minute, your paperwork ain't even in order. Come here, sir. Come here, sir. So Border Czar Tom Homan was like, listen, Linda, listen. Let us inside of Rikers Island. We don't have to deal with fighting and tussling with them people in the boroughs because we rounding up they folks. We can just deal with them right here. New York, like, yeah, all right, yeah, that might make sense, but no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Rizza says, Sheik, when you can watch the last interview with Tom Homan and Stephen A. Smith. Okay, I'll have to look into that one because I didn't know they did an interview together. Stephen A. Smith getting that smoke too. Stephen A. Smith is getting that work too out there by the public. He had came out making a comment of saying basically ain't nobody worried about no Epstein files. Y'all, they drug that man by his nut sacks all across the internet. So I'll have to look into that. Let me see. So welcome you all. Double tap the screen. Let me see if we can get to 100 likes. It's 210 of you in the building, 61 likes. So yeah, that's on that. So I'll try to get through some of y'all comments. Welcome. Good morning. Let me see what we got going on. Good morning, my awesome mods. I seen Virtuous Woman and Riza in here. Virtual reality says they can only get caught up when they are in the right place at the right time and are illegally in our country. Adios. Adios. um, that Opal guy says this country needs better educated Republican voters. Midterms are coming up. I know a lot of people have been talking about what's the likelihood as far as the direction that the votes will go. Will the votes heavily lean towards the Republicans or the Democrats? Y'all, I don't know. I see. Here's the thing. It depending on who you talk to, who you listen to. Some people are like, "Yo, Trump's approval rating, like he's doing his thing, like he's winning," and people not in their feelings. But then you got these other numbers that's like, "Oh no, people pissed off. People are definitely in their feelings, and largely it's people from his base." MAGA or people who just voted for him. Like I said, I'm a person who voted for him. I'm not MAGA, but I voted for him based off of just what he was talking or whatever. But over on this channel, you'll hear me talk about the things I'm for and then the things that I'm not for. So that's kind of how I roll over here. So it's not kind of hard one way or the other like a lot of the platforms. It's more so based off of what's popping off. I'm for, with the whole illegal immigration roundup, getting that under control. I talked about a week ago, last weekend, you all, I think it was last weekend, there was an ICE agent that was shot during an attempted robbery while he was out with someone late at night. It was maybe around midnight on last Saturday, I believe. I think it was last Saturday. But you all can look it up. But it was in New York. It was an off-duty ICE agent. And he was sitting, I think it was a woman that he was with. And two guys rode up on him. What ethnicity? Since I reported on it, I learned, I think they were Dominican. But they showed the picture of the two guys. One of them was 21. I think the 21-year-old is the person who shot the ICE officer. So happened the ICE officer had his weapon on him. So he was off duty. He wasn't working. He's doing his thing. He off work, but he still had his weapon on him. And when they rode up on him and he felt like, oh, snap, this is a robbery, he pulled his weapon out and went to shoot the perpetrator. He shot him. At some point, the perpetrator shot him. And from when I initially learned about the story, it was saying that he was shot. The ICE officer was shot in the face and the arm. I know it was the face. It was the face and the arm. Those are the two body parts where the ICE officer was shot. The perpetrator, the 21-year-old, he was shot as well. Because remember, I told y'all the ICE officer had a weapon on him as well. So he was able to draw his weapon and shoot. So that person who was shot, he was 21. He was shot in the groin and the leg. So how they found him, so after they fled the scene, he fled the scene wounded with whoever he was with. They went to a hospital in the area. So I guess through surveillance and things, because listen, I be telling y'all, like, it's cameras everywhere. That's what I'm like, these police, they can figure out, they can solve these crimes. Let me just, you finna sit right here for a minute. If they want to solve a crime, they can solve a crime. If there is a will, there is a way. Just like y'all, them people who had broke out of that prison in Louisiana, and they caught up with all them, and they found they was showing the cameras that was in places that we didn't even know they was in. What I'm saying is that if they want to find you, they can. So there's that. So they started looking at these cameras. Y'all know how when we be watching these movies, the Jason Bourne movie, y'all, that stuff be real. They got cameras. They got cameras everywhere. They can see what they want to see, what they need to see. And they was able to see these two perpetrators as they went inside of the hospital to get treatment. I guess the other one took the friend or whatever to the hospital, because I didn't read anything about both of them getting injured. I just read about a 21-year-old getting injured. And so they took them into the hospital. So they were able to learn that from the surveillance cameras. So any of y'all who got these crimes out here, these unsolved mysteries or whatever, and the stuff that took place in y'all neighborhoods or whatever, if it was a priority for them to find the person, they would find them. I'm just saying. So this is how they were able to find the perpetrators, because of the local just surveillance. Y'all ever wonder why certain cases that become like media, like heavy in the media, they can solve the case and they put these resources into it. But then when it comes to like regular people, like what I consider myself, and some of you may consider yourself, when you got something going on and you need them folks to help you fight, and they just like, listen, we ain't seen them. All right then, Miss Linda, we'll call you soon as we got an update. Y'all ever notice, like, it's a different type of energy. And a lot of times people that look like me, black and brown people, we feel like when it comes to us, it's a different type of energy. It's be on some type of time of if they deem you as a criminal and they want you locked up, they gonna go find you. But if it's on some type of time of, I don't really know who that person is, you saying they mean a lot to you, all right then, we'll keep an ear out, we'll listen out. Child, they ain't finna put no effort into trying to go find nobody. That's what I'm saying. Like, you see it play out. Like, y'all, I don't even watch regular news, but like I be hearing like reports and stuff, some big stuff, like it'll make it to like YouTube. So if I'm learning about news and stuff, it's because it had made it to some content creator channel. Like, I'm learning from it that way. But the moral of the story is, if they want to solve the case, they will. That's all I'm saying. If they want to solve the case, they will. Tammy says, Zachary, I guess you don't pay attention. Maxwell was offered limited immunity and she has started naming names. That is correct. Limited immunity. She was. So I didn't hear them go into what exactly the limited immunity meant, as far as like, well, how limited it is. But she did name names. They said it was about 100. Her attorney, I talked about it when I first started this live. Her attorney spoke. You can find him. I don't know his name, but if you just type in Ghislaine Maxwell attorney speaks out, he'll tell you. He's like, yes, them folks, they came and talked with her because he was present on the side of her. She gave them a lot of information, and it was about 100 names at least that she dropped, and he didn't specify, at least when he was speaking before the press, any of the names, but she did drop names. Trump has also spoken out as well and basically said, listen, she was saying names, but it ain't my name. She said everybody else's name, but not my name. She ain't saying my name. I'll tell you who name she didn't say. She didn't say my name because I wasn't over there at the house with them people. So Trump has definitely backpedaled when it has come to how close of a relationship he's had with Jeffrey Epstein. He's like, listen, like, that man was scum. He tried to come into one of my, business, my facilities, my hotel, my casino, whatever. We kicked him out. Like, Trump is on that type of time. Like, I don't know that man. You know how somebody, when they don't want to mess with you no more, they get brand new. They're like, I don't know you. Like, girl, if you don't stop it. Trump is on this. Listen, I don't know who that man is. He like, I don't know who that man is. So, but we got all these pictures that got them looking like they was just best buds. So, but Trump like, listen, it's just a picture. And it's just a picture. That's all it is. Move around. There's nothing to see. Do I believe that? No, I don't. But as of right now, Trump, he hasn't been charged with anything centered around Jeffrey Epstein. So that's a fact. Like, no matter what type of position, opinions we have about it, what we think may have happened or may have not happened, Trump has not been charged with anything centered around Jeffrey Epstein. Ice Pop said no one has. That's very true. No one has, but no one's name is coming up more than Trump's name is, though. Trump is throwing out, I think recently when he was talking, I think he threw out Clinton's name or something like that, because then Clinton's name had been on that flight log like a whole bunch of times. I don't know if it was said like over 200 times. It was a lot of times. I think Clinton's name was on that flight log. I think that was the person whose name was on that log. But if you look up, Trump recently spoke. I didn't know, it might have been yesterday. He was on the Green Lawn. You can hear the helicopter, behind him. So it was loud. But he was talking. So you can go look up that interview and see what he was saying. But people was asking him questions. One thing about Trump, like unlike a lot of other presidents, especially Biden, Trump will stand there and engage with the people and answer your questions. Even if you're not here for his response, he will like engage with you and give you some type of answer. So that is something I do like about Trump, that he does do that. He's not afraid to speak to the public. Now, whether or not he telling a sack of lies or not, like, now listen, that's between him and his higher power. But what I'm saying is that he will, he'll speak before the people, and we really didn't see that happening very often with Biden. So I'll give him that. I'll give him that. He will speak before the people, and I like that because sometimes I be like, damn, like, can we move? Because the plane be out, it be so loud and noisy, but Trump will be there like, okay. And the thing I noticed with Trump is like he'll answer your questions and he don't even be on some Caroline. Y'all know Caroline Levitt, Carol B. Lyon, Carol B. Lyon Levitt. Child, that's what I call it. Somebody called her Carol Lyon Levitt. I added the B. Carol B. Lyon Levitt. Carol B. Lyon Levitt will like give you attitude. Y'all ever notice like when she up there talking, she'll kind of give you attitude if you asking a question that she ain't. Trump don't do that. Like to me, I know to me his energy is still always pretty much the same. Like when I see him on the green line, he's answering these questions. It's gonna be the same type of energy. It's gonna be the same type of energy. So I do like that, with he's consistent like that. When he's interacting with people, as they're bringing questions to him, whether he thinks it's. To me, I feel like Trump when he hears a question, he don't view it it's a dumb question. I literally heard Carol B. Lyon tell a woman her question was a stupid question. I think she said it was a stupid question. That's a stupid question. Something like that. And how many of us grew up being told there is no such thing as a stupid question or whatever? Well, I learned that there is because Carol B. Lyon told that woman, it was a black reporter. She had a question centered around, it was leading up to the Trump's birthday and when they had the military parade celebration for the anniversary of the military. And it was a woman there and she asked Caroline if people who were in attendance to the parade or the vicinity, if they were to protest whatever, would they be arrested? Caroline told that woman, of course not. She told her that was a stupid question, a dumb question, something like that. I was like, Father God. So she does stuff like that. I don't see Trump do that. Trump will just answer your question. Like, no, yay. Like, so I can rock with that. That he just go, answer your question. No question is a stupid question. But Carol B. Lyon said, yes, it is. I mean, these be some stupid A questions they be asking up in here. So check that out. Look up Trump's last interview on the lawn at the White House and listen what he has to say about Ghislaine. Oh, they asked him, would he pardon her? They were like, yo, so are you going to pardon Ghislaine? Would you? He was like, I ain't gave it no thought. Now, I think that's a lie. Player, what do you mean you haven't given it a thought? Her name and your name has been in the same sentence for the last 2-3 weeks at least. What do you mean you haven't given any thought? So I didn't believe that. But then they played this compilation of him being asked about previous people who he since pardoned, where they say, are you going to do this or that? And he'd be like, I haven't given it any thought. And then all of them was like, pardon. Don't ask me their names, y'all, because I wasn't familiar with these people. But they kind of threw that in the clip or whatever. So Trump said, listen, I haven't given it any thought. I haven't given it any thought. So do y'all think that Ghislaine Maxwell will get pardoned? Let me know. Drop it in the comments. Will Ghislaine Maxwell be pardoned? Kay said Trump called questions stupid all the time. I guess I haven't seen them clips, Kay. Listen, I seen Carol B. Lyon told somebody their question was stupid, but yeah, I guess I missed that day. What's up, Tim? LMK said, yep, no stupid questions except the questions not asked. Listen, that's why I'm like, y'all don't let nobody make you feel bad because you asking questions. Smart people ask questions. That's why I affectionately refer to my subscribers on either one of my channels as honor students, because we're lifetime learners. We ask questions. If we don't have the answers, we go seek them out. We're like we're not above being wrong. Like we're open to just having healthy dialogue to just talk about it. And that's what my space is about. Just coming together and just talking about the shenanigans that's going on in the world, and just come up with possible solutions, or what you think, how you think it can kind of work or be fixed. But it's not about having the answers, because I don't claim to have the answers, all the answers. I claim to have an opinion. So I come to you all and share my opinion, and I get in the comments, and I read, what you all think about my opinions or other people's opinions, and we have conversation about it. That's basically the gist of this channel. If you're wondering like what I be doing over here, it be that I come, I share my opinion, and then I learn how you're here or not here for my opinion, and we talk about it, and then I get into your opinions. Yeah, this is what we do. This is what we do. Virtuous says, I leave the cussing for you, Tux, then I will block. Yeah, so we don't have to always cuss people out to get our point across. So that's definitely an area that I've definitely evolved in with my delivery, because child, sometimes they get rough and tough, and I just be like, but I've gotten better. I've gotten better with my delivery, I must say. So, but yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm able to reach everyone, regardless of your age, your ethnicity. So I try to be kind of more mindful of my delivery, so I don't lose you. But yeah, we're lifetime learners, so don't ever have someone to have you to feel bad because you're asking questions. Like, if you don't know, ask questions. Smart people, I noticed that smart people, like, think about it, you all, anybody who that's smart, I'm sure, like, all the smart people I know, they ask questions. They ask a lot of questions. I ask questions all the time, because that's the only way I learn how I come to know things. So what I do, asking questions, isn't always me having someone right before me to pose that question to. Asking questions is also me taking a question that I have and just going out there and just researching it to seek out the answer. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I do. I do a lot of that. So then I come and I go live and I just share information with you all that started likely from a question that I had. Or a lot of times, like, I'll listen to the different commentaries. So I'll listen to people, because I like to move around, you all. I'll listen to what CNN is saying. I'll listen to what MSNBC is saying. I'll listen to what Fox News is saying. I listen to what Now News is saying. Like, I move around. Because I'm trying to see if there's commonalities amongst the different platforms, and also the underground news. Underground, I call that news. It's going to be like, say, your international news that you may not be aware of, small content creators like myself, even some big content creators, but just aren't mainstream. I like to move around, because sometimes I notice that even like as I move around, I'll see a consensus that people basically say when it comes to this Epstein situation, regardless of what platform I go to, when I get into the comments, majority of the comments are centered around people's requests to see the Epstein files. Try it out. Do what I did. Go to your favorite YouTuber channel, Fox, CNN, and the topic is centered around whatever's dealing with the Trump administration. I promise you, when you get into the comments, the vast majority of the comments is going to be centered around the Epstein files. And the comment is going to be on some type of time of when them files coming. It's more so people caring about the files versus not caring. Like, most people do care about these files. Like, when you're reading the comments, like, they care. So when you're seeing these comments, it's on some, what's the deal? Why can't we see these files versus who cares about these files? You're not going to see a lot of comments where people are like, I don't care about these files. So that's why I say it's good to move around, because when you move around, there are certain things you come to learn that's not biased. This Epstein situation, you all, this isn't a biased situation, because all the different platforms are talking about it and talking about how people are wanting to see them. So that lets me know it's not on some bias. It's on some type of time of these people are recognizing that the people in the USA, American people, want to see these files. Hell, I'm sure at this point, You got non-American people sitting on the sidelines with their popcorn waiting to try to see something too. It's not even just American thing, but I'm just saying American because this is where I live. So that's why I say move around, get into the comments, because I learned so much about a lot of things by simply just going into the comments, because people will kind of make little comments centered around maybe the topic, and it may have you to start going to research something else. So don't just listen to the content. Get in the comments and see what people are saying. I promise you, you can learn a lot. K-Walk said, watching propaganda channels, you have to understand they are lying and not fall in traps. Yeah, so not all the channels are propaganda channels, but that's why I say move around. You got all kinds of different channels. Just move around and see what they're saying. So I just kind of, I listen to so many different channels. I can't like even just name them all. It's just a lot. I just move around, you all. So that's why on my channel, I'm not hard one way or the other, because I move around and I come out here and I just talk about, y'all, this is what I'm hearing out here. Let me know your thoughts on this. This is a thought I have on this. What do you think? That's basically what it's about. So just move around, get into the comments, see what the people are saying, because the comments are your real life people. So that's not going to be the propaganda of whatever you're hearing from, say, whatever that news outlet is. Get into the comments. Those are your regular, degular people. So you can listen to what, let it play with the reporters are saying, but get into the comments. The comments is going to be your neighbors. They're going to be saying how they really feel, what they're seeing. You see what I'm saying? It'll change your life. It'll change your life. I'm always in the comments. I'm always in the comments when I'm listening to content. I usually will listen to the content first so I can kind of take it in. Then I'll afterwards get into the comments and see what the people are saying. It's easier for me to stay focused if I don't read the comments while I'm listening, but I'm going to get into them comments because I learned so much just from reading the comments. So I definitely strongly recommend you all do the same as well. Let me see. Rupp says, I like how you talk, and I can't say this enough. Listen to Whitney Webb. You'll love her. Whitney Webb. Okay, let me screen. All right. Did a screenshot of that. Thank you so much. Yeah, so that's just what it's about, you all. I'm very thank you so much for that recommendation. Who is that? K-Wag? Who said that? Who gave me that? Roop. I highly suggest Whitney Webb. Yeah, I'll check her out. I'm not familiar with her name, but yeah, it's just what it's about, just being open-minded. Listen to what people have to say, and not just because they're red or they're blue or whatever, just turning them off and just rejecting whatever it is they have to say because they're a part of a different club. Like, I don't believe in doing that. I'm all about just having healthy dialogue, and because I feel like we can all learn from one another, and we all don't know everything. Some people may claim to, I don't. So I'm not above. Sometimes, people who rock with me, who've been here for a while, will see, like, I'll talk a certain way. They may throw something out there. It'll be food for thought for me. And I may be like, you know what? That makes sense. That makes sense. So listen, I'm just one person. So that's why I like to kind of come out here and talk to you. I always say when she got questions, she go live. When I got questions, I go live because I'm trying to get a greater understanding, different perspectives. Even my moderators, like, everybody don't, RZA, listen, I be over here sometimes talking greasy about the president of the United States. RZA, like, listen, Trump forever, Trump 2028. And he's my moderator. You see what I'm saying? Who got a moderator that's taller and, saying something that may be the opposite of what the host is saying? Y'all see what I'm saying? But that goes to show, like, I'm trying to help you understand, like, how I roll over here. Because it's not on some, you need to think and move like me. It's just on some respect type stuff. Healthy dialogue. Like, Tim might say some things like, Sheik, you're wrong. Let me help you understand something. So I get people in here. Sometimes people be ex-military, police, like, and they'll give me, like, their opinions. And share their stories, and I'm taking all that into an account because I don't know everything. So it's about learning and evolving, and that's what we do over here. RZA said this. That's love. I be representing your husband. Yes. Oh yeah. Don't leave him out. He a writer. So y'all, if y'all been over here, y'all no telling what you done heard me say about President Trump. I told y'all. Sometimes it don't be warm and fuzzy, but my husband is a writer. Q, whatever the heck you want to call it. Y'all know how Beyonce got them beehives? That's my husband's energy. Like he's Trump. He's Trump. And y'all see how I be talking? But it's okay because we're different people. We have healthy dialogue. I be like, listen, so I'm gonna need for you to help me understand what the hell going on. So sometimes, I'll say things to him that has him to be like, all right, then, yeah, I see how that don't make sense. So I do that to him a lot lately. Like, okay, sir, help me understand. I'm trying to understand how you hold on to the line when you got this, and this popping off. So he and I, we have those dialogues. So it be like that. And it's okay. It is okay. It's okay. It's okay. But thank you for that reminder, RZA. Yeah, because RZA holds it down for my husband. Yeah, they are definitely strong Trump supporters. And, that's fine. I respect everyone's stance, Robert Huggins says, power to our strong, brave, and unapologetic women. Keep on going. Thank you so much. You know what? And I'll tell you all just the history of just with this channel. So it wasn't too long ago that my channel had barely over 500 subs on this channel. And that was going back to February. So prior to February, when I started this channel back in September of 2024, I was doing just some different things, just trying to figure out life over here for this channel because it was a second channel I decided to start. I would say probably hard for the past 2 or 3 years. My mother had been strongly encouraging for me to do content centered around politics. I would say since the pandemic, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't care. Like, I was just so like, no, I didn't want to do that. At that time, I really wasn't interested in politics like that. So I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want to talk about hell these celebrities. I want to talk about other stuff. So fast forward to the election season. November came. Like, I started just having thoughts and opinions about things. Trump got inaugurated the end of January. Stronger thoughts and opinions. And I was like, you know what? Because prior for the election season, so y'all, let's go back to November. I was going to do election watch party on my channels. I got 2 channels, so I think I was going to maybe stream them both. I was going to do it, y'all. I was like, we're going to do a watch party. Then I decided not to. I had it scheduled and everything, and then I canceled it. And I canceled it because I had listened. Any of you know the large content creator Tasha K? Tasha K is a really large content creator in the United States, in the U.S. She used to live not that far from me in Georgia. Now she's in Florida. I think she's in Miami. But she used to be like a neighbor, like just within probably like 20 minutes of where I live. We lived in the same area. So she said that she had made a comment or something centered around politics, and her people got mad, and she lost 8,000 subscribers. Child, I still don't have 8,000 subscribers. I had even less subscribers back then. And I'm like, oh no, I can't afford to take a hit because of my political views. So I canceled the scheduled watch party, and I just didn't cover it. Fear. So that was in November. Fast forward to January, Trump got inaugurated. Still heavy conversation centered around what he was going to do, how he was going to do it, y'all. The first day one, he had that pen signing stuff. Executive orders. February, I said, you know what? While I'm concerned about losing followers because of my political beliefs or whatever, I'm not thinking about the right things. I shouldn't be thinking that way. I should just be thinking about just how I can show up and just live in my truth and just be me. Because I was me already, but I wasn't showing you all just my thoughts when it comes to just life in general type stuff. I would just give you all like my opinions and stuff centered around whatever the content that I was covering. So I'm like, bump that. I don't even care. I don't even care. Tomorrow I'm going live. I'm calling it Car Chronicles, and I'm just going to talk my talk. If anybody leave, now I done told y'all on this channel, I barely had 500 subscribers. Think y'all, look at the numbers. We're almost at 5,000. I'm going back to February. We're doing a flashback. We're doing a flashback. Just in February, I had barely 500 subscribers. I said, bump that, forget it. It just came to me that Monday night. I was just like, I'm going live. I'm just going to talk my talk, be me, whoever's here for, but I'm just tired of just sitting and not speaking out and saying how I feel about what's going on, what's going down. So I went live. That Tuesday was my very first Car Chronicles, and the name instantly when I had that thought, Car Chronicles. Thank you so much, Tim. Thank you for rocking with me. I went live. You all, that live, I had over 6,000 people that came through, 6,000 views. Record number for any of my channels. I said, okay, gain new subscribers. So remember, I told you I was worried about losing people by me sharing my political views, because I knew that most are from the demographics of my followings, because we can see this in our YouTube studio. We can see what our demographics are. Most of my followers are Black women. Most Black women are Democrats. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I didn't want to put myself out there like that, because I was a smaller content creator growing. But I got to a point, but I'll say, after, I don't even care. I don't even care. I'm going to talk my talk, whoever I'm for, whoever, but I can't listen. So I did that. Over 6,000 views. Record for a video, live, anything that I've done for one day. Next day, I'm like, all right, we'll see. Maybe I'll get 3,000. If I can get in the thousands, like I'm Gucci, maybe it'll be 3,000. Next day, it was maybe 20,000, 30,000. Like it was it was just the progression for me. It was even larger than the 6,000. I think it was double digits. I think it was maybe around like 28,000 views or something like that for the day 2 of my very second Car Chronicle. And then after that, it's just been what it gives. So did I lose people? You all, I don't know, because I gained so many people and followers to where I can only see the numbers going up. I don't know who left. Like, I really don't know who left, because the numbers kept growing. So you see how when I decided to no longer move in fear, because I was fearful of talking politics, I was fearful for my channel to be going this way. It didn't cross my mind that my channel would go this way by me speaking my truth. So when I did that, the channel just been this way, and it surpassed my first channel at that time that had maybe about 2,100 subscribers. It was my other channel was already monetized with about 2,100 subscribers. This channel wasn't monetized, and I had less than 600 subscribers. This channel is now almost at 5,000 subscribers, and it's monetized. It's been monetized for a while now. So once I started talking politics, I have probably nearing 1 million views right now on this channel. I have a lot of views. If you all look at my previous videos, like you'll see the amount of people, like they be double, like, so that's how I know when my channel gets shadow banned, because I can tell based off of like how many people are watching, the numbers, because you become familiar with your videos, what they do. So this channel right here does way better than my original channel. So the moral of the story is living your truth. Don't operate out of fear, because a lot of times when you choose to go that route, that's when you start winning in life. When you just be your authentic self. When you just be like, you know what? I don't even care what people think or what they say. I'm on some type of time to where, listen, you either for me or you're not. You for me or you're not. If you're not for me, go move around. But over here, this is me. I'm chic. I'm just true. I'm natural in every way, from the physical, like y'all, literally, I'm just real in every way. I know no other way to show up. This is just me. This is me. I appreciate those of you who do show up for me and what it is that I have to give. It ain't nothing fancy, spectacular over here. No, y'all, no telling what you may see me wearing at that time, how my hair gonna be styled. I know you ain't finna see me in no makeup, because I can't remember the last time I put some makeup on. So listen, I'm just me. I'm just me. And life's so simple when you're just able to just be you. And I just hope and wish that everybody can experience that one day, to just be able to show up as just themselves and feel good, and not feel like they're less than, or that they got to go tweak something, slap on somebody's wig or makeup, whatever, to feel accepted. Just be you, living your truth. And that's what I want to be an example of over here on the internet, in my little in my little corner of the internet. I just want to show what it looks like when you just show up for yourself, when you are your true self, and when you are unapologetically you. Because I will say my biggest wins have been when I've shown up as just myself, and not being concerned about what the next person has to say. And I will say, with Trump, I think a lot of that, the way he moves, why, as we talk about me voting for him, Trump moves in a way to where he just like, I said on his Nene Leaks, I said what I said. Trump moves in that kind of way where he like, shit, I know I done said this on Tuesday. It's Friday. I'm saying this. Now what? Who gonna check me, boo? So I think that's something that, too, a lot of people liked about him, is because he just was just like, listen, you like me or you don't, but this is the type of time I'm on. So when you operate in that type of way, now where you like, listen, it is what it is. It is what it is. And Trump operates in it is what it is type manner. And you either here for it or you not. You either think it's lies. Like, to me, half the time I think he damn lying. My husband think, no, I don't think it's that. Listen, I think he been probably lying since he was about 5, 4. Trump, did you get a cookie? No, I didn't. Trump, why is the cookies all over the floor in the damn kitchen? What do you mean you didn't get a cookie? He gives that he was that type of child. Where you seen him with your own eyes. He been look you in the face on his Shaggy. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Don't he give that type of vibe? Like, you didn't sit. I just see, that's why you going to military school. That is why you getting shipped off on Saturday. Because this right here, damn well, I walked up on you and you still hollering what you didn't do. You trying to play in my face. Trump gives that he been playing in folks' face since he probably was a toddler, since he was a little boy. A little boy. So he just stands on whatever it is, that he's standing on. And that's something that a lot of people respect. Now, the thing that becomes a challenge with that is when you're standing on something and it's not true, or it's lies. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, are you real with it? Because you got a lot of people who will stand on their lies. I am someone where I stand on my truth, and I encourage you all to do that as well. I encourage you all to do that as well. Living your truth. Living your truth. It will set, what they say, the truth will set you free. That's what Ghislaine Maxwell trying to do. She's like, listen, she said the truth will set you free, so I'm ready to speak my truth. She said, I heard her on that live. She said the truth will set you free. I'm ready to be set free. I'm ready to be set free. So Ghislaine Maxwell is ready to be set free. She like, oh, okay, y'all saying the truth will set you free. All right, then I'm next. I'm signing up for that. So the question comes, do you believe that what she's saying, is it true? Is it true? What she's telling, or what she told whoever, the DOJ, whoever that went to meet her, do you all think that she was truthful? Who knows? How do we know? Do we know? Because really, I feel like the only way we can possibly know any truth is if we are able to see the documents. Because to me, the documents is going to have information that at some point was said, like early on in the investigation, from interviews, whether it was Ghislaine or Jeffrey. It was like early on when they were like, yo, I'm trying to get out of here. What you want? Okay, I'm about to say that, where people like were motivated to give you something so they can get out. So I feel like the documents, we're not going to ever really know the full truth if we do not gain access to the documents. That's just my opinion. Anything else that comes out, you all, I'm taking it with a grain of salt. Because I don't know, you all. I'm looking at the timing. Like, why now? Why is Ghislaine like ready to talk now versus before? Like, you all think about it. Why didn't she start trying to cut a deal, or were they not willing to cut a deal with her back when they first picked her up? When they first picked Ghislaine up, like, do y'all think that it probably just wasn't an option, like no deal for her to be able to like walk? So therefore she was like, well, fine. If y'all not saying there's an opportunity for me to walk, then I'm not going to say anything. Y'all think she kind of took that tone? Y'all think she took that tone? Like, yo, if you're not giving me no deal, that means that I can walk up out here. I'm not saying anything. Because I'm trying to understand why now. What's the motivation now for her to start talking and giving names versus back when she was found guilty, however long that was. Rich says she has leverage. So, okay, so Rich, let's go with that. So back then, how long she been locked up? About 3 years? How long Ghislaine been locked up? So let's just say if it was 3 years ago, because I don't know how long she been locked up. There was no leverage she had. Like the having the list wasn't leveraged maybe back then. Like say, it was 3 years ago and they like, yo, we about to lock you up. And she can be like, oh, okay, well, hey, I got names for you. I can give you these names if you don't lock me up. Do y'all think that ever came up, that she said that? And then they were like on some, no, that's no deal. I'm just trying to understand why she couldn't have had some leverage back then versus now. Y'all help me, Tony Anthony says she's making a deal with the Trump administration. So let's just say when she first got locked up, there was nobody to make a deal with, where nobody felt like the information she had was worth letting her out. But I get it. She's definitely making a deal with the Trump administration. That's what I feel. But I'm just like, I don't know. But yeah, so these are just the questions I have. But nonetheless, I feel like she's out here. She's making a deal with the Trump administration. I feel like she will get out. I do not feel like she will name Trump's name. And I feel like that's because it's going to be a part of the deal. Did y'all see that was that the Washington Post? Is this the same news outlet that Trump's suing? That they said that an insider or somebody revealed that Pam Bondi, Attorney General Pam Bondi, told Trump in the spring that his name was in the Epstein files. Did y'all see that? Because I think it's the same. Is it the same news outlet or journal that Trump is suing? Cowman, you said yep. So do y'all believe that? Because think about it. It was back in February where Pam was going on her rounds saying that, hey, I got the files. They're on my desk, whatever. That was winter. Coming out, that was winter. They said, so now it had me to think like, okay, y'all follow me. When Pam first came out, let's just say February, because that news clip that they keep rotating with her saying, oh, I got the files, they're on my desk, whatever. That was February, they're saying. February 2025. So that was pre-spring. Do you all think that she had every intentions of releasing the information until April when she got everything and learned allegedly that his name was in it, and then that's when the turn took? That's where the change was made. Do y'all think that happened to where she was on some type of time where she did have every intention of releasing it until she learned the boss name was in it? And then it was like, oh, snap. Because according to this news outlet, they're saying that Pam told him in the spring that his name was in the files. So when I think about when she first came out talking and then the spring, it makes sense why there was suddenly a shift in energy. Then y'all know, soon as Elon Musk left the White House since his little assignment ended. He did a post on X saying the reason why the files have not been released is because Donald Trump's name is in them. So I'm like, okay. So right now, I'm learning that allegedly Pam learned in the springtime that Trump's name was in them. Okay. Elon was working at the White House in the springtime during that same time that that information came out. So it sounds plausible that Elon came to learn that same information as well, because he was staying at Mar-a-Lago back then. Like when he was working doing Doge, he was staying on Trump's property. Him and baby X were staying at Mar-a-Lago. So it makes sense that inside information, you know how mama said, listen, don't be taking business out the house. This is business that was in the house. It makes sense that Elon Musk could have became privy to this same information from just talking, somebody jaw jacking. Y'all know how Elon seemed like he the type of person that can engage in conversations with people and end up just getting all the tea. Y'all ever talk to people? I want to people mess around and tell me all their business, y'all. I'm sure y'all be like, I can see that. Like literally, because I'm just shooting a breeze. I'm just talking. And next thing you know, I'm just getting all kinds of information. But fun fact about your girl, for those of you who are new to my channel, my background is clinical mental health counseling. So that means I have a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling, which also means that your girl can be a whole therapist, psychiatrist, all of that out here if I choose to, based off of my education. But I choose to be out here on Beyonce/Diddy's internet with you all. I like YouTube. I like content creation. I'd rather play around in over here versus sitting in some building and having somebody lay on the couch and tell me all their business and how they hate their husband or wife. I like being over here with you all. So it makes sense to me that Elon had conversations with different people at different points while he was working in the Trump administration, and people got to talking. People got to talking. And Elon, he's super smart. Elon just was like, oh, okay. You know how you make mental note to self, note to self. He had a lot of notes to self. Leverage, as we talk about leverage, things that he would have like in his back pocket for if things one day no longer works out for him at the hands of the Trump administration. He have ammo. He has ammo. What's up, Marguerite? You said, Margarita Simpson, welcome. Love you so much. She will love you too. Thank you for joining. It makes sense that while Elon was having conversations with these various people while he worked for Doge underneath the Trump administration, it makes sense that as he was having these conversations, he was making making notes of these things just in case. Like, really, who wouldn't? I know the heck I would. Like, really think about it. Especially if you want some type of time to where you know you're in an environment to where everybody ain't always on the up and up and people are known to change their mind. Everybody knows Trump is known to change his mind. And I truly believe things went left between Elon and Trump because Trump changed his mind on something. I truly believe that when it came to like Elon and these electric vehicles and all of this, I believe that Trump told him what he wanted to hear to get what he wanted to get out of him, which was money. Money that was used to back his campaign. Elon was the biggest donor. I believe that Trump was wanting his money. So when Elon was like, yo, Trump, all right, then, yeah, I got all the money, but I got these ideas. Can I meet with you? Can you hear me out? Can you hear me out? I want to share my ideas with you. I feel like Trump was just like on some, all right then, man, what you got? Like saying, yeah. You know how sometimes people tell their kids and they'll say anything just to get, you say anything to get your kids out your face. And then they try to hold you to that. And you're like, but you knew you was just saying whatever just to send them on. Like, go now. I feel like that's what happened with Elon and Trump. Trump was on some like, all right then, now what you were saying, all right then. Okay, yeah, I'll keep that in mind, but we'll talk about it. Write that up. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's what happened. And then when it came time where Elon wanted to cash in on those things that he felt that Trump had promised him, Trump was on some, oh, either I don't remember saying that or no, you misunderstood. I didn't mean that. I meant I meant this. And Trump and Elon been on some, no, that's not, no. And Trump like, no, that's like, no, I can't do that. Why would I agree to that? No, that, or things are different now. Like, we can't do that. I feel like Trump switched up. So when Trump switched up, Elon switched up. You all think about it from a common sense perspective. It doesn't make sense for Elon to switch up the way he did for no reason. Where the freak they do that at? People don't switch up for no reason. 9 times out of 10, there is a reason, and it's centered around them no longer finding you to be worthy of protecting or riding for. There's something that you did to where they were like, you know what? I don't like them no more. I don't like how they moving no more. I'm jumping off the bandwagon. And I feel like that is what happened. Rich Madri said Trump intentionally crashed the market and committed insider trading with Elon's help. Sushi Gang said it's all a show. Look at all people who switched on Trump, then went back. I believe it's all a show. I believe it's all a show. I believe that when it came to Elon and Trump, they both never fully trusted one another or even liked each other. Y'all remember prior to Elon joining Trump and backing him, they didn't like each other. Like, they would make comments about one another, like in the media. Trump would badmouth the electric vehicles. I remember that. He was like, man, I don't want no electric vehicle. Like, suddenly he went from badmouthing electric vehicle to having a doggone whole car dealership on the lawn at the White House. Y'all remember when Trump held that press conference and he had like 3 or 4 Teslas on the lawn at the White House and encouraging for people to go and copy one, go buy one. And he then said that he was going to commit to buying one, which he said, he bought one. He bought the pretty red one. That was the one I liked the best too. I think that truck looks hideous. I do not like that truck, but he bought a really pretty red one. That was the one Trump took a liking to. And it also happened to have been the cheapest one as well. Because I ended up seeing Trump, when he was out there, he had a little card thing, and it had like the pricing of the vehicles and things. And somebody had ended up showing that. I think you know how the internet is undefeated. Somebody was able to zoom in some type of way and see the notes on the card. So by each model, you can see the price and stuff. And the one that Trump took a liking to was like only like 30-some thousand. Like, it was pretty affordable, I think. Because Tesla's, what I've learned, you got different price points for them. So Trump took a liking to the cheaper one. I don't know if it's because it was a cheaper one or he just liked that one better. I happen to have just liked that one better, but it ended up being the cheaper Tesla vehicle that was out there on the lawn that day. So I say all that to say he went from bad mouthing electric vehicles to now strongly encouraging for me and you and whoever that saw him that day to purchase one. What is that about? What changed? Flip-flopping, Michael said. Like, this is what he do. What changed? What changed is that Elon gave him what they said was in the trillions, the amount of money that he donated to his campaign. I don't know the exact dollar amount, but I know it was more than anybody else had donated. That's what changed. That is what changed. The money, the donations. So when that changed, Quinn says money, when that changed, when the money got inserted into the situation, then Trump started saying, you know what, EVs, electric vehicles aren't so bad. They're not so bad after all. And then now that Elon and pissed him off again, he like, F that, no, these EVs ain't getting no, it is not. And he's back on his, forget it. No, everybody don't want no EV. Like, he's back on that type of time that he was before when he was more of an anti-electric vehicle. So Elon like, wait a minute, but that's not what you said. And I'm not going to hold you. I truly believe that at some point, Trump flipped on Elon when it came to promises. And I'm sure some of them promises should have been flipped on because they was on some bull. But Trump just said yes to get what he wanted, which was money. And that's where we are. And when it comes to this Epstein stuff, I feel like Elon is the one that got it on and popping. Because nobody was really talking about it like that. And really, like, we would have water cooler talk about, hey, where are the Epstein files at? I wonder if Pam still want to release those files. I remember, like, with family and friends kind of saying that. This was when Elon was still working at Doge. When Elon left and did that social media post and threw out the name Epstein, It was like it opened up the can of worms. It opened up a can of worms because it was like people was thinking about in the back of their mind, but nobody was like, it wasn't like the at the forefront like that. But when Elon brought it up and posted about it, everyone was like, oh yeah, whatever did happen to those files. It was almost like some people maybe had temporarily forgot about it because y'all, it was so much else going on. So then, we were with the whole tariffs had taken over the news, the talks of tariffs, the tariffs going up and down, job losses. There was just so many things, you all, that had our attention to where we weren't thinking about Epstein and those files. I was doing content. I wasn't talking about Epstein files. I was talking about the things that were present that people was just putting in our face. So then when Elon left and he said, y'all want to know the reason why the files have not been released, it's because President Trump's name is in them. That's when the world was like, oh yeah, that is a thing. Whatever happened to that? Trump, I'm going to need for you to step to the front of the congregation. And we've been here. I said, I know Trump and the whole administration go to bed every night cussing Elon out. Because he's the one who put, like, who lit a match to it. He's the one that lit a match to it. And everybody's been talking since then. Everybody been talking since then about these files. And guess who hasn't been talking about these files? Elon. What's the last thing Elon has said about these dang files, y'all? He done literally came, I call it blew up the whole spot, came, dropped the word Epstein, dropped the word files with Trump's name in the same sentence, and then got quiet on some, did I do that? Steve Urkel. Like, that's what it's giving. It's like he literally dropped the dime and then ran off. What they said, throw rock, hide your hands. He got it on and popping and went somewhere and sat down and just sitting like a bad kid that threw a rock in your window. They done ran. They maybe done ran back in their house and they peeping through the blinds and they looking at your house as you're outside surveying, trying to figure out what the freak then popped off, what didn't happen, how you windowed, and then the kid just looking and eating on their snacks, they Fruit Loops, they cookies. Y'all, this is what that's given to me. This is what that's given to me. RZA said the chat getting busy. They are engaged for real today. But this is what it's giving. It's giving that Elon just got the conversation going and then stepped back. It's like, okay, he stepped in, got it going. Okay, y'all got it. And now I'm going to step back. and because we're not hearing. Elon's very quiet. Every now and then we'll hear something centered around Elon's name. But Elon has gotten very quiet. Elon, like, listen, I did what I came to do. I did what I came to do. So I'm pretty sure if Trump had it to do all over again, it's not enough money in the world that Elon would be able to offer him to help him win the presidential election that would have him to align himself with Elon Musk. I would say arguably he probably views that as probably his top 3 of biggest mistakes he's ever made. It might be his number 1. What do y'all think? I think that Trump lives in regret. And I talked about it early on when I first started doing political content on this channel. I said, when I first, remember I told y'all the history, if you were in here, of how this channel came about with talking politics and me speaking my truth and saying how I really feel about what's going on in these political streets in the United States of America. I said that the Trump and Elon relationship is going to end by way of a terrible breakup. I said that. It's going to end by way of a terrible breakup. And Trump is going to regret, kind of like that ex that you regret ever, like you be like, oh, she was cute and all, he was fine. But if I had to do it all over again, I would have kept walking. I wouldn't have stopped, entertained them, gave them my phone number, told them where I live. I wouldn't have done none of that. I felt like it was going to get to this. And guess what? A lot of people had the same prediction. because you are dealing with two narcissistic individuals. You're dealing with two powerful people who have deep pockets. So they both live in worlds to where they're used to being able to do what they want to do, when they want to do it, how they want to do it, on some who gonna check me boo energy. So you now have almost like arguably two of the most, the rich, the power. So you got the richest person and the most powerful person just because of him being a president fighting. Think about it. The richest person and the most powerful person by way of seat in politics fighting. That's a heck of a fight. I would say on this channel, y'all, the Bloods and the Crips ain't got nothing. Them gangs ain't got nothing on a political fight. Because guess what? Them gangbangers in the streets, they money ain't looking like Elon money and Trump money. When money is involved, y'all remember when Jay-Z and Beyonce and Solange was in that elevator and it went down? And I think Beyonce did a song and said something like, when you got millions in the elevator, millions in one place at one time, it should go down. And that's what this is giving. This is what it looks like when the big dogs fight. That little street gang stuff, y'all, that ain't nothing. The red and the blue when it comes to Democrat, Republican, or Elon and whatever, y'all, that's a different type of fight. That is a different type of fight. And that's why everybody is looking at it like, OMG, because we've never seen anything like it. We've never seen anything like it. Elon is used to having all the money in the world to be able to do what he want to do and nobody tell him no. But now he has someone who has the highest position of the state. He's the president telling him no. So it's just like, wait a minute. I'm not used to someone telling me no. That is a problem. Then you got Trump, who's used to being powerful. He's held the highest seat, not once, but twice. So now he's dealing with the richest person, somebody who has more money than him, telling him no. I'm not going to play by your rules or do what you say. How often you think he's ever heard that before? So you got two people who ain't never had nobody tell them no and be able to think that it was going to be kosher and not be dealt with until they met each other. Because Trump has something Elon wants or needs, and Elon has something that Trump wants or needs. Y'all see what I'm saying? This is what we're seeing. This is why it's an entire mess. This is why it's an entire mess. Rich Madry says, and what about Obama? Listen, I ain't rocked with no Obamas since in a long time. I don't rock with the Obamas. I'm a person who personally feel like Obama just wasn't placed in that position to do anything that was going to make things better for people that looks like for me. I feel like Obama was placed in his seat for optics. Obama was placed in his seat to create an environment or a world, or at least in the United States, that was more inclusive when it came to the LGBTQ community. That's why I feel like Obama was placed in that seat. It was more so centered around that movement with trying to make people more accepting of just people choosing to engage in same-sex relationships, choosing to alter tribes, however they gonna do it, alter their gender. I personally don't even think it's possible because you have the guy X chromosome or Y. I'm just saying. I feel like that was why he was placed in that position. It had nothing to do with him getting in that seat and putting some checks and balances or things in place that would make life better for people of color, and particularly black people. It was never about that. And many of us, when we voted, it was based on identity politics, including myself, not once, but twice. He looked like me. So why wouldn't I think that this person is going to put some things in place that would be there to protect us when people do things, wrongdoings against us, like they've done for many years and gotten away with it? Why wouldn't I think that this man who I felt looked like me, even though he was biracial, but they pushed him as he was a black man. He was raised by his white grandparents, his mother's parents. but they pushed him, and so he was a black man. Because I grew up in the whole one drop era. How many of y'all grew up in that era of, if they got an ounce of black in, if they got any black in them, they black? Because during the slavery time, if you had black in you, you were black. You had your mulattoes, but basically they still considered you the N word, because I don't use that word, the N word, if you had black in you. That's why those biracial kids, like, they would be hidden. Like, I've talked to people, family members, like people along the way, who talked about during times where their ancestors and things like that would have to be hidden, because by sight someone would be able to visually tell that they were a mulatto, they were mixed, and that would be automatically somebody just coming for their life. It was just dangerous. So they would hide the mulatto, the mixed child, the mixed baby. And guess how these mixed babies was created? It wasn't that the black woman met the white man at the local Waffle House or Walmart. No, the white man stepping outside of the main house and coming into the little huts or whatever it was that you call it that the slaves was living in. Stuff like that was happening. Or he was having them sneaking them into the main house. Or it was taking place with the black woman who had access to the main house, which typically was maybe the lighter, the more fair-skinned person who had access regularly in the main house. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if I didn't told y'all, but some of y'all, if y'all new over here, my family's name is Washington. I repeat, my family name is Washington, from my maiden side, Washington. My lineage, my ancestry, it goes back to Washington. Yes, President Washington, George Washington, that Washington. You all, I have yet to still go through life and meet a non-black Washington. Why is that? Why is it that everywhere I go, if I come across somebody with that last name, and it's not super common that I have, it's happened maybe once or twice in my life, and I'm 44 years old. The times I have, they look like me. And then the times I've seen on television, you know how sometimes you might be watching something and it'll show the person's name. If their last name is Washington, they also look like me. I have not met one that had a white skin tone. So what I'm saying is that my lineage, going back to slavery, it comes from master sleeping with Aryan black women and creating life, which is how I got here, which is how I arrived. And it's not just the Washington. What about those with the last name Jefferson? I remember years ago, y'all remember the magazine, Jet Magazine? Y'all remember Jet Magazine? It was a little short magazine. It was a black magazine. And they'll profile some black celebrity or whatever. And I remember there being a piece on Thomas Jefferson. I believe it was him. And then they showed, like, it was, and when I saw that, I'm from California. I'm from the Bay Area. And so I was maybe like middle school then. I moved to Georgia when I was like 15, 16. I started my sophomore year in high school here in Georgia. Up until then, I was in California, the Bay Area. I'm from a small town called Pittsburgh, California. When I moved away, the last town I lived in was Fairfield, Sassoon, Solano County. Fun facts about your girl. So I remember as a young girl, my mother, she would always, and grandmas, everybody, I don't know, y'all, let me know, black folks, y'all know everybody had the Jet magazine subscription. And I remember reading a piece in there about, I think it was Thomas Jefferson, and it showed all these people who was linked to him through DNA, and they were all black. These were his offsprings. These were his offsprings. I remember it. And then they were all standing on like a plantation or in front of a house. But the story was just centered around just talking about just the lineage of Thomas Jefferson and the history and everything. So I say that to say, as far as with Washington, it's the same thing. I am a descendant of George Washington. I'm a descendant of George Washington. My mother, last name is Washington. So They've been dipping and dabbing for a long, long time. They've been dipping and dabbing for a long time. So when Obama was pushed before us because he had black in him, and going back to how I was raised and many people was raised, the one drop rule, he was black. I no longer think that way anymore. I now put people who are of mixed race in their own category, which I believe they should be in their own category. I do not feel like if you're mixed race, should be forced to have to pick one or the other. If you're mixed race, your mama white, your daddy black, I don't feel like you should have to identify as black or you should have to identify as white. I think you should be able to just identify as mixed race, period. Why do you have to choose? So I had to kind of work to get to this point, to kind of with a deprogramming of thinking that just because someone has black in them, that they are black. Just because they have black in them, they are black. Yes, we are all humans, but we are separated by ethnicity. We are all human, the human race, but we are separated by ethnicity. And as much as we would like to live in a world where it doesn't matter, ethnicity, race doesn't matter, we all know that it does. We're reminded of that every day at our jobs, in our neighborhoods, in our communities. Even with content creation, you take notice of how, certain rules may apply to some people or some groups of people versus others. So we may not like something, but just because you don't like something, it doesn't mean that there's no truth behind it. You see what I'm saying? Just because we don't like that people are divided by cultures and race, it doesn't mean that there's no truth behind people are divided by it, and they're treated differently and sometimes not favorable because they're a part of a certain cultural group, race, all of that. That stuff is real. So again, back to identity politics. Obama to me was like the first person where I think a lot of people voted for him centered around identity politics. And then I didn't even know that was a name. That my first time hearing that term was when Kamala went to run for office, and people that looked like me were like, men and women, but especially men, they were like, you got me once with Obama. You're not getting me a second time with Kamala, with this identity politics thing. You're not getting me on that. You're not getting my vote based on you pushing that this person is a black woman. No. What are you talking about? What type of time you on? What is your policies? What are you running on? That's the type of tip I was on when it came to my vote. But a lot of people voted for her just because of identity politics, because of wanting to see the quote unquote first black woman. I personally don't identify, I don't align with her. To me, she's not what I am. She's not a black woman to me. She's Indian, Asian, or whatever. She ain't black. She's not black, but whatever. It don't matter to me because she didn't get my vote. So you would never hear me talk about her being a black woman. She has a phenotype, some features that gives that she got some black in her. That's not a black woman. Kamala is black when she wants something, when she wants your vote. Kamala Harris is black when she wants your vote. Prior to her running for president, running for the president of the United States, we were not hearing her running around hollering she was black and she cooked collard greens in a bathtub. We were not hearing her running around talking about she was smoking weed or marijuana or whatever while she was at college at Howard University. We wasn't hearing those stories, you all. She ran for other seats. So it wasn't her first time going around speaking to people trying to get a vote. In those other seats, she wasn't running around pushing this whole I'm black narrative. She wasn't. When she was running for what, attorney general? Like, she's had whatever seat she's had. Kamala wasn't pushing the black narrative, the black agenda. She wasn't doing none of that. She did not do that until she went to run for president. She became black then. Because prior to, I seen interviews where she was identifying as anything but other things. What? Indian, Asian, whatever her mother is. Like, she was identifying as that. I seen her Indian blood. I seen her doing a show with this actress, this Indian actress. I can't think of her name. You all may remember it. They were doing some type of special, and they were in the kitchen cooking together. Um, the actress was Indian. Y'all can probably think about it, but you probably can Google Kamala Harris interviews with Indian actress. Can't think of her name. I remember on daytime television her being on a show, but I didn't watch it. But I just remember seeing her. So they were doing this little cooking thing. So the program centered around, hey, Kamala come in to cook with this woman, and they just talking, because Kamala was running for president at the time. This was before the whole VP thing. I think at this point she was trying to go for president. And the woman was Indian, and she's a darker complexion, darker skinned Indian. And Kamala told her how she looks like her cousins, and how she can be her cousins and all of that because her family members have dark skin like her. And then she proceeded to talk about how she and her family would do the same type of cooking routines and things like that. The Indian actress, was saying that she did or what she does. So Kamala, how she'll do that little giggle. Mindy, Atlanta, you say Mindy, Mindy K. Yes, that's her. Thank you all, Althea and Sarah. Mindy, y'all, look, go find the interview with Mindy, what you say her name is Kaling from The Office. Mindy and Kamala Harris. Homework, honor students. Go find that interview. Not one time did I hear Kamala say to that woman that she identified as black or even had black in her. She specifically talked about the Indian heritage, the Indian culture, the things that they would do together as a family. She told that woman how they look like they could be cousins because she looks just like the people in her family. Kamala is a light-faced Indian. From what I hear, just like with here, anywhere else, white means right. The lighter you are, the better. So what I've come to learn, just even with the Indian cultural group, to where the lighter people are the more affluent people. Those are the people with the money. The darker complexion Indian are not the ones that's treated they're not treated more favorable. They just, the ones that look like Mindy, no, that's not the popular ones. But Kamala was telling this woman that her cousins and her people and all of that looked like her. Not one time did she say, oh, yes, I'm part Indian and I'm part black. I would even went for that. But she did not mention black at all, you all, in the interview. So when I saw that, this was before, you all, I was hearing her trying to align with black. That was how I kind of mostly became familiar with her, because I don't live in California anymore. So when she was running for those other seats, people in California were only voting for her. But when she threw her hat in to run for president, then she started moving into other spaces. That's when I seen her early on during the campaign trail, when she interviewed with Mindy, and she started identifying as being Indian like Mindy, talking about, child, we can be cousins. We can be cousins. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's what she is. Fine, no problem. But then as things started to progress and she wasn't picking up momentum, and then she aligned herself with Biden, then that's when she flipped the script. And then she went on the Breakfast Club, a black syndicated radio station. She went on the Breakfast Club, and then she was on this blackness and talking about being at Howard University and talking about smoking weed and marijuana, listening to Tupac, when people were saying the song that she said that was out, that she was bopping to while she was high, they was like, it wasn't even out then. And then she made it seem like, well, when they asked her about, you smoke marijuana or whatever, she was like, of course I did. I'm Jamaican. So then I started hearing that her father, who she didn't have a relationship with, took offense to her saying that. I think he was a professor somewhere at some school in California or something like that. Because she was raised by a single parent, by her mom with her sister. Her father took offense because people were like, wait a minute, all Jamaicans don't smoke. Hell, my hair is locked. I've never smoked a cigarette, nothing in my life. Some people think that if you look a certain way, you listen to certain music, like people, y'all know how it goes. All kinds of stereotypes. I don't fit into any of there. My hair is locked, but I'm FBA. I'm not Jamaican. I've never smoked. I've never done any type of illegal drugs. Like, I've never even smoked a cigarette, let alone marijuana. Like, y'all, child. My hair is just locked. I'm just natural, no makeup. Like, child, I'm just a natural woman. I'm just natural. It's nothing else to it other than that. So she talked about smoking weed and all of that. So people took offense to it because they were like, wait a minute. Why are you feeding into the stereotype that Jamaicans smoke weed? And her daddy didn't appreciate that. So he had went on the record or something saying, making a comment or whatever. And then when she said she was smoking and listened to Tupac, I don't know if she was saying what album it was, but the people are like, the album wasn't even out then. So she was lying. Thank you so much, Michelle. She was lying. She was just lying. She was, what do you call, like, she's a chameleon. She'll become whatever she needs to become to get what she wants. So when I saw that, she lost me from there. I never considered, like, I'm like, this woman is, what they call it, cosplaying. Like, what is, like, this woman, like, okay, they got me twice with Obama. I voted for him both times. Virtuous says she not like us, Kendrick Lamar, right? And people, like, it showed through the numbers. So the reason for them to push her as the next president, I'm like, how delusional can these people out here be to still try to prop her up to be the next president when the people have spoken on not one but two occasions to show that they don't rock with her like that? Why are they still trying to push her when people have said multiple times they don't mess with her like that? People don't mess with Kamala Harris like that. I hope I don't know. I don't care anymore. But if they try to prop her up the next go around and still push her, that's when you really, really know they delulu. If them Democrats put their money behind her to push her again for the next president, baby. Baby. But I'm not going to put it past them that they won't. When it comes to this politics stuff, you all, whether it's Democrat or Republican, I've seen so much just since this second term with Trump being in office to where I view politics so it's very in a different way and not favorable. Right now, I view politics as hey, it's about saying the right things to get what you want. It's not about delivering. It's about saying what you need to say to get what you want. That's how I view politics. That's how I view politics. Because what it's giving, that's very much so what we're seeing. It's just like you just say what needs to be said to get what you want. I recently, maybe a couple of weeks ago, Trump was talking somewhere, and he was talking about where he's wanting to give a pass for illegal immigrants who are here working in certain fields of work, like the agriculture, hospitality, and construction. I forgot the word you call it. Amnesty. Thank you, Eric. Amnesty. So he was somewhere talking, and he was talking about doing that. And he was like, I know, people are going to be mad. My people are going to be mad. But he was like, they'll be fine. They'll be all right. They'll be fine. They'll be okay. So to me, what that means is that you okay with the fact of not holding true to what you told these people to get what you wanted. You lied. You said, hey, vote for me. And anyone who's here illegally, we're going to send them back. We're going to finish this border. We're going to do this. Finish this wall. We're going to protect the borders. You all, that's what he ran on. The polls I've seen out there shows that was pretty much like the number one issue that his voters had, which is why they voted for him. So he got the vote. Now he's on the, okay, well, now, it looks like it's going to impact our economy, in a negative way if we send all of them back. So we'll entertain keeping some here. How about the ones who work in agriculture, hospitality, and construction? Because we need to, we can't send them all back. Just like y'all with these tariffs. The tariffs extension, what is it, August 12th or something like that? It's supposed to come to an end. The same conference he had on the Green Lawn that I'm telling you all to go look at when he was talking about Ghislaine Maxwell. I think it was that same conversation. They asked him about tariffs. And he then said, well, if he doesn't cut deals with all of the countries, or the countries he don't cut deals with, he said that he will still lower the tariffs because he was like, I mean, I don't want to be mean. What? What? Sir, sir, are you already putting it out there that you're about to backpedal? And you're already, before you backpedal, you're putting it out there. You're going to backpedal, and you're doing it because you don't want to be the mean guy. What's the difference with now as we hop into August? So we're in July versus what, April, whenever he did the extension, with how you felt about how you were perceived. Why did you feel okay with doing the 25%, whatever that you was slapping onto them back in April? You were like, listen, business is business. They've been getting over on us, this, that, and the third. You didn't care how somebody viewed you. You're like, listen, it's about putting the U.S. first, getting our money because people been getting over. That's the type of time Trump is on. Now, as we're in July, about to hop into August, he's saying, well, we got some deals made, but with countries that we haven't made deals with, we'll probably do maybe like a 10 or 15% tariff on them. But, you know, we don't want to have it high because, you know, we don't want to be mean. Like, y'all see what I'm saying? Trump does things and he throws things out there to see if it sticks. And when it comes to the tariff things, it was able to stick for some countries, but not all. So the ones that it's not sticking for, he's now having to create the reasoning behind why. Well, we want to be nice guys. So, yeah, we're just going to have them have to pay a 10 or 15% tariff. I know I said, 25% or whatever, but we're going to be nice guys. What? Y'all, when I say that I look at politics so different right now. Wayne says we have legal work to come here to work farm. Tammy Brown says no one can be perfect. Let me see, Tammy. No one can be perfect. Could you imagine how much pressure he has? He's not going to get everything right. That is so true. That is so true. No one's perfect. But being perfect and outright lying, that's different. There's a difference between not being perfect and just lying. I personally feel like Trump has been caught in just lies for personal gain. I mean, no matter how you slice it, like this man has just been caught in lies. And he's just standing on, listen, Trump, one thing Trump gonna do, he gonna stand on his, whether it's a lie or he just standing in it. Sarah says, our farmers need them and we need our farmers. This portion of deportation is truly questionable for me. So here's the thing, Sarah. There are other people who would be willing to do these jobs that a lot of illegal immigrants do. The problem is that the American people do not want to pay American people what they are worth when it comes to certain jobs, like agriculture, hospitality, say even construction. These people are making pennies on the dollar, you all. And I know this because there was a farmer when Trump started doing these earlier on, when he first, got into office the second time around. There was a farmer, can't think of which state. He was in maybe like Iowa, one of these states or whatever. And he was concerned. He was saying his workers weren't showing up for work because they're running scared about getting rounded up and all of that. So the question was posed to him, well, why don't you hire American workers and pay them minimum wage? His response was, I cannot afford that. If I did that, I would be out of business in 1 year. Minimum wage for where I live in Georgia, because I've looked it up a couple of weeks ago on a live, it varies. So it's going to be the federal minimum wage, I believe, is $7.25. So that means that you have to pay, and each state has to pay workers at least $7.25. My state of Georgia chooses to go with the $7.25, where they operate from, hey, our base point $7.25. So that means you can very well go someplace in Georgia and work a job and make $7.25. You have a lot of other states to where they have a base rate that's higher than that, even though they can get away with offering $7.25. For example, a state like California, theirs may be around $15, $17 or something like that. The problem isn't that people don't want to do these jobs. The problem is that this is modern day slavery, where these business owners, these workers, can get away paying these workers pennies. So that's your fault if you do not have employees, because you're choosing to not pay them what they are worth. That is the problem. Also, what I've recently learned, that in agriculture, the vast majority of people who work in agriculture are not immigrants. They're not illegal immigrants. It's like 30% of them. The vast majority are American people, probably white people. They're not Hispanic people working in agriculture. So it comes down to the money. It comes down to the money. American business owners do not want to pay the people what they are worth. I done told y'all, this farmer said, I cannot afford to pay the people minimum wage. I'm not even quite sure for his state what his minimum wage is, because I've come to learn that it varies. But from a federal level, he would at least have to pay them $7.25. So let's go with $7.25. This man says he cannot afford to pay his workers at least $7.25 an hour. That is an entire problem. You need to not be in business if you cannot afford to pay your worker, your employee, the basic minimum wage, which is still not enough. In what state in the USA can somebody live off of $7.25 an hour, even with a roommate? Y'all do the math on that. How much money? So how much money does that bring in? $7.25 an hour if someone worked a full-time job. Somebody do the math for me and put it in the chat. So we're doing what? 40 hours work weeks. 40-hour work week at $7.25 an hour. What is the take home every 2 weeks or every month? What kind of money? And where you live, can you afford to pay rent? Can you afford to pay rent on that? Can you afford to pay childcare on that? Can you afford to pay buy your groceries on that? Can you afford to pay your car note with that? Y'all, these are just, and buying clothes. This is just basics. Y'all, I didn't say nothing about going on vacation. I didn't say anything about going to the movies. I didn't say anything about going. Hey, I'm back. My phone overheated. Can you all hear me? I'm back. I'm back. My phone overheated. But yeah, like, people can't live off of this. See, his greatness says even $20 an hour can't cut it. I live in Georgia. You're right. Like, $20 an hour, you're definitely like having a roommate. Thank you. Yeah, my phone overheated. I'll probably have to get off soon, but y'all know I can be on here for a long time talking to y'all. Like, Gerald, you did the math for me. So is that a month? $1,160? That's a month? So y'all let me know. Let me know what states you all live in. Can the average person afford to live off of $7.25 an hour? Sarah said, things are not always completely clear and much going on beneath the surface. I don't see that as lying. Trump is the best for the job. Who would be better? Truly, who? I get you, Sarah, because even like when I think back to who our options were, I still I still can't imagine voting for Kamala. Like, I just can't. So I get what you're saying as far as with who else would it be, because I do feel like at that time, the options that we did have, like, that was just, that was the best one. I'm just saying, that was the best one. But right now, just with what I'm seeing, he's not perfect. He's going to F up. He's going to mess up. But I'm all about accountability and owning something. If you do mess up, you misspoke, you was wrong about something, I'm all about acknowledging that and not acting like it didn't happen, or not trying to make the person who took notice of your effort feel like they're crazy, like they didn't see what they saw or hear what they heard. The gaslighting, playing in your face like that. I don't like that. Don't do something and then try to convince me that I didn't see what I saw or hear what I hear. That's when you lose me. And I feel like a lot of that is taking place with the Trump administration. Things are taking place, but then when people are calling them on it, taking notice of it, it's just like, well, no, that's not what it was, or that didn't happen like that. And it's just like, yes, it did. It did. It did. Like, own it. Just say, listen, we effed up. We misspoke. All right. I think things would go a lot better if we see more of that with the current administration. That falls into accountability, because I'm big on that in life and on this channel, accountability. But I don't feel like we're seeing a lot of accountability with the current administration, and that's a problem. And it's not about getting it right, because we don't always get it right. I don't always get it right. I always claim to have the right to all the answers. I don't. I give my opinion. Some of you share yours, and then sometimes I switch. And I'll be like, damn, I didn't think about that. You're right about that. Let me do some more research on that. I'm not going to just die on the cross with just some foolishness. I'm going to be open-minded to give some thought to what it is that someone is saying, to see if there is something there to that. I'm not going to just automatically just close my mind and just turn away because of who the messenger is. Because we see a lot of that happens, that because of the messenger, we're not trying to hear what they're trying to say. Because of the messenger. So that's why I don't subscribe to red or blue. It's what is your message? What are you saying? What's your message? I'm here for whatever. What kind of time? What are you talking? What's your message? I don't care what color, whatever your part. What is your message? Right now, come November, Georgia will be voting on our next governor. Right now, we have Governor Kemp. And he does, I don't have anything bad to say about Governor Kemp with how he's, how Georgia is being run. It's a Republican state. I personally feel like Republican states are ran better than Democrat states, but that's just my opinion. But right now, former mayor, Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottom is running for his seat. And it's a couple other people. Keisha, I don't have anything negative to say about her, but it's going to, whether or not she gets my vote or not, it's going to be based off of what her politics are. What is she going to be running on? Right now, I haven't started. Kyle said Kemp is okay. Kemp is okay for a Republican. Yeah, I don't have anything bad to say about Kemp. Our state was probably the first state during the pandemic that opened up, that removed us from the lockdown, opened up our schools. A lot of people were against it. Governor Kemp was like, no, our kids need to go back to school. Remember, y'all, the No Child Left Behind, many kids were being left behind. They weren't learning what they needed to learn at home. It was just a bad situation. He was like, no, we're opening up. We're sending our kids back to schools. These in work environments, you can decide whether or not you want to require the mask or not. If you want to require, the getting the vax or not, but we're opening up. And a lot of people were mad. But guess what? Right after Kemp opened up our state, all the other states started to fall in line. Florida, I think, was next. Then you started seeing the Democrat states who were anti-opening up, like California, New York, and all that. But Governor Kemp got it. He got it going. He was like, no, we're not going to live. We got to do something. We can't just stay in the house forever. Can y'all imagine 5 years later if we were still on lockdown? Because the way things were going and with the way they were trying to have our society be, like, we could have that's what it was giving. And he was like, not for my state. And Keisha Lance Bottom, she was the mayor of Atlanta at the time. She was in support of keeping everybody on lockdown. She was not here for people going outside. And Kemp pulled rank. He was like, listen here, I'm the governor. I override whatever it is that you got to say. So these little things, rules, whatever that you're trying to implement for the city of Atlanta, saying you can't do this, you can't do that. Kemp stepped in, flexed his power, and is like, listen, no, we're about to open up. If the people want to go to the mall, they can go to the mall. If they want to go to This Is It, they can go This Is It. Waffle House, Walmart, wherever. The Piggly Wiggly, wherever they want to go. The Q-Tip, they can go wherever they want to go. So I remember that. Praise God for Governor Kemp. Praise God. I did not live in the city of Atlanta, the city limits. So whatever Keisha was trying to do, it didn't apply to me as a resident, as a local. But I do, go into the city, to do different things or whatever. But I live in the suburbs. I live about an hour away from Atlanta. So I live in what you call Metro Atlanta. It's on the outskirts of the city of Atlanta. But I was grateful for Kemp saying, no, we're not doing this. We're opening up everything. And so Keisha had to fall in line. So fast forward to 2025. Not quite sure exactly what Keisha is running on right now. I guess I need to start looking into it, because come November, she will be on the ballot for the entire state to vote for governor. And I want to see what she's talking about. There is a Republican, back the last time I looked into all of this, maybe about a month or so ago, there was one white male Republican who was running for the as a Republican. And then there was maybe like 2 or 3 people running for underneath the Democratic Party. And it was Keisha, who's a former mayor and an attorney by trade. And then she was also running, I think, against a guy I think he's a pastor. He has a church or something. Not familiar with him. But I remember someone being a pastor or something who was throwing their hat in for the seat of governor. But out of everyone, to me, Keisha was more likely. She's the household name for people here in Georgia. So I felt like she would have a better chance of being the nominee, the Democratic nominee for our next governor in the state of Georgia. So we will see. We will see. We will see. Michelle says, I got one jab and ended up sick and then had a seizure. Now my muscles don't work right anymore. I am sorry to hear that, Michelle. I have a family member, my mother's oldest sister. So she's the oldest of the 5 children. My mother is one of 5. So the oldest, my aunt, she's 64. She's been in the hospital for about 6 weeks now. And she also got the jab, and just her health started declining maybe within a year after her getting it. And she had a seizure. Her daughter came home. My cousin came home and found her lying on the floor about 6 weeks ago. And she'd been there for several hours, maybe like 7 hours. And she hasn't, she's been on the machine since then. They took her off the machine last week with the expectancy of just going ahead and letting her go, because she couldn't breathe or do anything without being connected to the machine. And when they took her off, she's been breathing on her own, and it's been like a week now. Praise God. But that's what we call vax injured. So we believe she was vax injured, because she was perfectly fine. But she just started, not being able to walk correctly. Her mental started, declining. We seen the decline, and she's just one of multiple family members who basically health decline following that. So remember, I told you my mother is one of 5. So 3 of the 5 got the jab, and 3 of the 5 have, like I said, I have my aunt who's basically waiting any day to go to hospice. So that's her situation. My uncle, he got cancer. So he's just learned that I think that's pretty much, he's beat that. Like, that's kind of showing signs that it's gone away. And then the other sibling, my aunt, she's about 40. She had blood clots and things like that, and had some things going on with her brain and stuff about a year ago. And recently the doctor started evaluating her. I think she went to have a pap smear done, and then they seen signs that look like there could be cancer. And so now, like, she's navigating through that, and I'm not quite sure what what's going on completely with that. So, you all, I mean, these are the times we are in. I don't, me and my family, we don't do vaccinations. We're like those people. Me and my mom, my siblings, like we don't do those things. So we didn't get those things, and we're perfectly fine. But we've definitely seen more than one loved one who did, and they're no longer fine. And at this point, it's no longer, it's not a conspiracy. That's like, I've even seen like like them have go have these meetings with the government to talk about the impact that the jabs have had on people. I think Moderna had to go up and speak to Congress or something about it. I've seen them talk about it. So it is a thing. It's not something anymore where people think, oh, that's not, no, it is a thing. There's a lot of people have been injured. And so it's real. So we're no longer in those days of, oh, it's conspiracy or that's not true. It's very much so true. And for those of you who did take the jab, my prayers are with you. And I am prayerful for you to have long days here on earth. And I always say too, I think too, and I say this a lot to like my family. I think a lot of times the things that we worry about taking us out, they don't be the things that take us out. Y'all ever notice that like somebody who passed away for something, they died of something that you wouldn't have thought that would be the thing that took them out. You would have thought it would have been something else, but it was just something so random. I feel like that's how life is. Like with everything, like the thing that we worry about taking us out, don't be the thing that takes us out. It be something else. Y'all know what I'm saying? It'd be like something random. It'd be something random, not that thing that had you losing sleep over or that thing that somebody was telling you was going to take you out. That's not what did it. So I say that to say is that to don't get caught up in the things that you can't control. Have an understanding of what you control versus what you can't control. Become aware, be self-aware, do your research. Take care of yourself the best way you can. Live your life to the fullest. Because we all are going to go for something. And what I wouldn't want any of you to do is live your last days being worried about what's going to take you out. What for? Kyle said, I know it's crazy. I blame anxiety for every ailment. Sarah says, you are so right. Research, research, research. I'm in Georgia too, west of Atlanta. All right, Michelle. Yeah. I'm in, North Park. Heading out, going up towards Athens. What's up, Don? How you doing? I sympathize with anyone that got the thing. I'm so glad my non-trust levels was on 100. Right. Don, as you talk about non-trust, I be telling people, like my neighbor was asking me, back then, she and her kids got it. Her twins, she's single mom. And I was just like, let me talk to you about like really why I side-eyed it. Because in all my years, at that time in 2020, I turned 40 that year. I'll be 45 this year in October. At that time, I'm like, I'd never seen our government show so much interest in people that look like me with trying to preserve our life. I'd never seen it. I'd never seen there be such a great push to preserve the life of Black people. So it made me be like, okay, you trying too hard. You doing too much to where it's becoming obvious that you on some other type of time. What we doing here? Because you ain't never showed that you gave a damn about me and mine. But now suddenly you're like, Sheik, I want you to live. I want you and your Black babies to live. You and your husband to live. I need for you to live. Oh, really? Oh, really? So I started side-eyeing it because it was like, it became to me obvious that you on some other type of time because of how aggressive you was with it, where you wanted to force it. You know how like something where y'all we go through life and when something just seems forced and it's not natural, you be like, okay, you on some scamming type stuff. You on some other type of stuff. I see you because it's not natural. You're trying to convince me. When you're trying to work hard to convince somebody of something, it no longer becomes natural. It becomes obvious that it's about something else because what's natural, it's not forced, right? So that's how I started to look at it. I'm like, y'all going too hard. So because you going too hard, let me not do that. Because y'all doing too much. Y'all doing too much. And so I didn't, because you ain't never showed at any point in my life that you gave that much, you cared that much about me and my people, preserving the black life. Yeah, black people, we need you to do this because you ain't never cared about us. Even when Obama was the president and they still wasn't signing no orders or nothing, sending around trying to protect the black people that's getting hung or hit upside their head or wrongfully beat on or whatever. You didn't care then, but now since there's this disease or infection or whatever floating around, you care about me and preserving my life. It's giving Tuskegee Airmen. I'm just saying, y'all. So because of that, that's why I was able to stay 10 toes down the way that I did with not doing it. And I still feel that way. I don't trust the government like that. I'm just sorry. I just don't. You may trust the government, but I don't. Sheik don't trust the government. I don't. I don't. And the more and more I cover politics, the more I don't trust them. The more and more I cover politics because of my content, the more aware I am when it comes to just things in government and policies. Everything is rooted in money and power. Things that you or I don't have control over. We're not in the tax bracket, like we're just not even in the rooms with the people who have control over these things. I feel like right now our society is more so divided by socioeconomic status versus race. And what I mean by socioeconomic status, I mean the haves versus the have-nots. The people, let's say like me and you, I put myself in the category of the have-nots because I don't think there's really middle class anymore. It's either are you rich or you not. You rich or you're not, and I'm not rich. So I'm with the vast majority of the people. So when I come on my platform, I speak and I have a voice for those who are like me or even have less than me, who don't have a platform or some place to talk their talk, because it's centered around, it's money. I told y'all, you can see that it's about money with the fight between Elon and Trump. Y'all, like, this is, we are not even in the tax bracket to even think that we can even have the understanding of what the hell going on with them. That's rich people stuff. What they say is above my pay grade. Trump's and Elon's fight and argument is above my pay grade. It's above my pay grade. Sarah says, I would be dead now if I have taken a jab. I have highly allergic issues. And that's what's so disheartening, Sarah, back when they were trying to force people to take it for jobs and things. And there are a lot of people who did take it because they said their job required for them to take it. Okay, life's about choices. So if that was what was important for you, your job, okay. No judgment here. But my thing is, I feel like that it shouldn't be forced on anyone. It shouldn't have been forced on anyone then or now or ever. And that was another reason why I side-eyed it, because there was nothing else that we ever had that was forced on us in a way in which that was. So the stronger, like the harder they tried to hold on to us with this and saying, I need you to sit here and take this, the more I was rebellious of doing it. It became that much present, to me, it just became that much more obvious that this not the move, because you putting too much into it. This not the move. You doing too much. It's not even believable anymore that this is for the betterment of me and mine, because of how hard you're going, how you're trying to force it. You doing too much. Michelle said, God told you not to trust it. And one thing I am is a spiritual person. And I just did not feel good about it. And even y'all, I was having these feelings and it had nothing to do with what I was hearing, what was supposedly inside of it, because I started hearing all of that too. It was just centered around the energy that they were putting into pushing it. It was something I'd never seen before. And at that time I was 40. So I'd been an adult for a very long time and I'd never experienced anything like that. And I just didn't feel right. It didn't feel natural that something was being forced onto me and my children. I didn't like it. So fortunately, at the time, the company I worked for, I was working at home still. And then even when I went into office, they didn't require. It was a Japanese-owned company at the time I was working for. And then since then, I've left to go to another company, and that company also did not require it. But I was at a point to where I would opt to not work for a company that required it. I would just stay wherever. But it was not going to, if it came down to me having to get it to keep a job, I was going to walk away from my job. My husband as well. We just couldn't do it. We were just going to, make it do what it do, go on faith, but we couldn't do it. And fortunately for both of us, our places of employment did not require it. They strongly urged it and recommended it, but it was not a requirement. Praise God. But I know that's not a lot of people's story. But again, life's about choices. So even if it wasn't your story to have an option as far as at your place of employment, the option was you choosing to remain employed at that job or not. And I know people who chose, and I see it in comments on different videos, who chose to walk away from their high earning careers because they refused to get it. Again, life's about choices. Rizza says she is independent but voted for Trump this time. Thank you, Rizza, for that. Yes, anyone who knows I'm independent. I voted for Trump this time. I have voted for Democrat and I voted for Republican. Most of my life, I have voted Democrat. Trump is the very first Republican I've ever voted for. Tube, you said she's independent. She can vote how she wants. Yes, I can, just as any of you can. We all can vote. That's the beauty of living in the United States of America. That's why I do not desire to call any other country home. I like that I have the freedom to say what I want, vote how I want. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So I vote based off of policy, not by party. That's how I roll right now. I used to vote by party when I didn't know any better, when I voted just strictly Democrat. But as I've gotten older and became more aware, then that's when I started to pay more attention to policies and what people are running on. And then I asked myself, does it align with my views, my beliefs, and things like that? So that's where I'm at with that. I vote based on policies. And I have every right to do so. Everyone that doesn't have the ability to be able to vote, like someone who's an ex-felon, you can't vote. Illegal immigrants supposedly can't vote, but word on the curb, they be voting. So I just know everyone does not reserve the right to be able to vote. So I am proud that I do reserve that right, whether I choose to vote or not. It's lovely to have the option to know that it starts and ends at me, whether or not I want to show up to that poll or not. It's not anyone dictating saying that I cannot. It comes down to, do I want to get up and go show up? Butterfly said, what Trump policy did you align with? I aligned with his views on illegal immigration. I aligned with his views on, two things. His views on illegal immigration. And the second one is his views on boys and girls. Boys not being allowed to play sports, with girls. For example, a boy who's biologically a boy, who identifies, who's now a transgender and now wants to go and play with the girls. Trump does not believe that that's fair because genetic wise, you're still a boy. So therefore, your strength is still that of a boy. There's just things that you still have these characteristics that are that of a boy or a biological male, regardless of what you identify yourself as. So I happen to believe the same thing. I have a daughter, who's 15. She's a soccer player. She plays co-ed soccer. Perfectly fine with that. Because why? Because it's advertised as co-ed. I make the decision on whether or not I want her to play with boys or girls. So, with a lot of these sports, like your school sports, like your girls' softball team, your girls' basketball teams, these are not co-ed teams. They're girls' teams or boy teams. So, that means when a parent is signing their child up to play into these sports, they're signing their child up with the understanding and the expectation that their daughters are going to be playing with girls, biological girls. Their sons playing football, whatever. Hey, I'm back. Sorry, my phone's overheating. Again, it's hot outside. But yes, back to those of you who are still with me. I'm back. my my phone overheated again. It's going to die, so I'll be wrapping up soon. I know I said that a while ago, but policy, I was here for Trump's thoughts and ideas surrounding Senator on immigration, and his thoughts and ideas centered on boys not being allowed to play in sports with girls. Sports with girls. So yeah, those were the policies and things that I aligned with. So that's why he got my vote. Hey Michelle, yes, I'm back. My phone, it was overheating. My phone was overheating, so for the second time, it's hot outside. I need to move around, let me try going into my house. My phone's about to die anyway. But yeah, I mean, we have the right to vote however we want to vote. So I encourage you all to vote how you choose, not how someone wants you to vote. And people don't even have to know how you vote, right? You don't have to tell people how you voted. That's personal. You can share that if you want, but you don't have to. And guess what? No one would know how you voted unless you tell them. They can speculate all they want. So just keep that in mind. And I'm pretty sure that happened because the way Trump won, I'm sure, because I've seen a lot of people who were Democrats upset that the way Trump won, they were like, clearly some people had to have been lying who said that they weren't Trump supporters, because the way that the people showed up with the votes, it's evident that there were more people who were in support of Trump than led on to be. People weren't being truthful about their votes. So I believe that happened. I think a lot of people went in the booth and voted in a way that people weren't expecting them to vote. And still to this day, they say that they didn't vote, a certain way, and they actually did. Because Trump won by like leaps and bounds. It wasn't even close. Don Cotto said Biden did tell Kamala he voted for Trump. Oh my God. Don, you making that up? Because that's crazy. Oh, MG. But yeah. Tube, you said Kamala, the scary laughing demon. Yeah, I didn't trust that lady. She laughed at everything. I'm like, nah. It's a hard pass for me. Yeah. Yeah, Kamala was a hard pass for me. So we'll see if they try to push her again. But if they do, listen, it's definitely delusion at its finest. Because I don't know what else you say. I don't know what else you say, y'all, if people still continue to vote for her and push for her. Like, it makes no sense. Rizza, you said, Sarah, subscribe and hit the notification. Yes, you all subscribe to the channel. I go live pretty often. I do my car chronicles where I'm live in my car. twice a week. And then I do content, I'll do a walk and talk or different, or I may be sitting where I can kind of get into the comments. So, Anonymous says he should start saying Israel first. He is not working for the best interest of America. Shell says, amen, wisdom and discernment foremost. Yeah, that's what it's about. And I say, if you do not have it and you're like, oh, I need it, I want it, pray about it. Asking you shall receive. Asking you shall receive. But I'm going to let y'all good people go. I appreciate you all for coming through, engaging with me on this Saturday live. I did a walk and talk. It was so hot outside. So I got up early and said, hey, I hadn't done a walk and talk in a long time because it's been so hot. So I'm glad for those of you who are able to catch me. Some of you probably for the first time. Welcome. I hope you enjoyed the live. Again, my name is Chic. I am a content creator, among other things. And this happens to be my second channel, which I talk all things politics over here. You can certainly follow me on my other channel, my original channel, which is just Chic Speaks. So right now you're listening to me on ChicSpeaksOnIt. And I talk all things politics, but on my original channel, Chic Speaks, and I talk about just anything else that I may want to talk about. Usually it's not politics related. It's just all the other shenanigans going on in the world. So you all make sure you follow me. Make sure you have the notification bell on. Like, share, and subscribe so you know when I go live, because I really don't schedule videos or lives. I kind of just pop out on you. On my Kendrick Lamar, we pop out. I just pop out on you. So that's kind of how it goes. But I pop out pretty often. So stay tuned. Stay vigilant. Get into them comments on these videos you watch. Read the comments. See what people are saying, how they are feeling. It's very telling. It's very telling. But just take that into an account. We all have an opinion, and it's okay. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's about just being respectful. So just be respectful for one another. I like to say, go out into the world. Take care of yourself. Take care of one another. Show up in a way in which you want others to show up for you. Like attracts like. Meaning, you give off good energy, you will get good energy in return. Subscribe. Road to 5,000 subscribers. We're growing. We are growing very much so over here. I thank each and every one of you. Please watch the content. If you ever join my lives late, be a part of the replay game. Because a lot of times, I share some things now. It's enough for YouTube to shadow ban me and not want to show when I'm live. So there's something to that. There is something to that, because I'm saying some things that YouTube don't want to get circulate. So they will shadow ban me. They don't do that for nothing. They do that when you're on to something. You know how it goes. When you're on to something, the people want to censor you. They want to silence you. So that is what happens lately, more often on this channel. So definitely check in, get into my previous content. The last video that they silenced me on, or tried to at least, or interrupted me on, was my live I did on Wednesday when I talked about Jeffrey Epstein. So if you want to know why would they interrupt my live and shadow ban me, watch that video. Watch that video. It was a car chronicle video where I was driving into the office 2 days a week. I drive into the office on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and I go live. Check out that video amongst others. Stay tuned. Stay cool. It's hot outside. Stay hydrated. And yeah, take care of yourself. Heavy on the taking care of yourself. So often we taking care of everybody and not ourselves. Heavy on the taking care of yourselves. And you all make it a great one. And I'll probably be live again maybe tomorrow, maybe not. But I will catch you on the next broadcast. Peace.